Okay, I screwed that up. I thought I was already added to the stream. I was talking to you guys. I said the boom, and I spent a minute and a half talking to nobody. So, how is everyone doing? I hope everyone's all right. Hope everyone is a little more with it than I am, because yeah, that was not my best moment. But hopefully everyone's doing all right. It's a lovely Monday. I am pretty sore because I was doing fireworks and my legs are killing me. But lots of heavy lifting. I am out of shape. Hopefully, I didn't drive everyone away with that massive, massive screw up. Sorry about that, folks. I guess it's a Monday. So, all right. Now, there's a bunch of things we want to talk about here. We can talk about, amongst other things, the fireworks, I guess. We'll start off. I can show you some of that. Sore from fireworks. A lot of firework stuff is, you're doing heavy lifting. The sort of fun parts of the fireworks are, you're setting up the explosives. You're setting those in, setting those into, racks and so forth. However, you got to set up these racks, and these racks are, some of them are like steel and some of them are fiberglass, and either way they are both very heavy. So that requires a fair bit of hauling and just general stuff. I'm trying to set up, let me see if I can get you some photos and so forth to share here, because I think that might be helpful. I've got some other stuff to share with you as well, but let me just add those to Dropbox. Actual size. There we go. I'm going to put those into photos, and then hopefully I can share them with you. Let's see. Whoops. Screwed that up. So, yeah, I'll have some fireworks that I can show you guys. I really enjoyed that. I can also show you something that I thought was kind of ridiculous. And what I mean by that is that we had a security pass, and it was the most bizarre security pass you've ever seen. Let me see if I can track that down. So I've got some photos of setting up the fireworks. Yep. Let me show you the security pass, because the event is already done, and now that it's done, it's not a not a thing. So this was the security badge. You can see that it's like as big as my entire face. So that was ridiculous, especially because I had to go up onto the bridge. So if you were, oh, and I got a moth flying around in here. That's lovely. So if you were in Edmonton and the high level bridge, there was all of one person on the high level bridge. And so that was me. That was me on the high level bridge. There was just the one person. But so I have to go up, and of course, how do they keep people off of the high level bridge? Well, they keep people off of the high level bridge by having police at either end, right? And so I'm walking up there to go to my spot, because during the fireworks show, my job is to be up there on the bridge to make sure that there's no, basically we want to make sure that there's no spicy toys that lands there. And Captain, have fun. Yes, I do use StreamYard, and you can absolutely email me. So they're wanting me to show, like, to prove that I am supposed to be there, right? Because it's just like, oh, hey, this guy is like, let me show you what I looked like, just because I feel like this is an important part of the context here, is to see what I look like. Let me just pull up this screen here, just because I feel like this is an important part of the whole story here. So this is what I look like. I've got glasses. I've got, my white hair. I've got a waterproof tent, or, waterproof hat. And I've got this olive drab coat with like fur shoulders and like that looks like crap. So, I do not look like they did not peg me as like this professional, um, like whatever. So they're sort of looking at me going, this guy says he's supposed to be up onto the bridge, which is heavily restricted. So they were very, very skeptical of that. Anyway, I got on the bridge. Everything went fine, but yeah, they were very skeptical, and they looked like I showed them the security pass. The police did not; they were not looped in on the security pass. So they were like, "Well, this looks like anybody could have photocopied this," and I was like, "You are correct. Anybody could have photocopied this." So, but it's actually the security pass. So, I'm sitting there going, multi-pass, and they're like, no, how about no? So, yeah, this is a fair comment. So that did not go all that well, but I had a great time setting things up. Let me show you another fun picture here. I think this one is a fun one. So let's, here we go. All right, this is me. You can see the lanyard from my giant security thing. And what I'm holding up there is, so you can see the bridge in the background, and what I'm holding up in this selfie is a giant explosive. So we can talk about this one because we can show you the different portions of this one. So you see that big round ball, right? That big round ball is the bit that's supposed to explode up in the sky. That is not supposed to be on the ground. This was taken after the show. So this is post-show. This was supposed to go up into the sky, and it didn't. So that big round sphere is supposed to be like, it was supposed to have gone up into the sky and made a big bloom. Now you see that little bit at the bottom here where it sort of sticks out, that little sort of cup bit there. This bit is actually the lift charge. The lift charge on that is that's explosives that are designed to, so when that's in a tube, that gets fired up. So the lift charge goes off, and it's basically like the gunpowder in a bullet. So the lift charge sends it up into the sky, and then that big part blows up. And that would probably have about an 800-meter diameter explosion. So if this goes up right here, everyone within 800 meters is having a bad day. You will notice, I'm just going to ask you to notice and trust me that I was within 800 meters of this particular thing right now. So people are asking, why am I holding it if it failed to work? Well, because when it failed to work, you can't just leave it on the field. It's got to go somewhere. And so we pulled that out, like we pulled it out of the tube, and then it gets sent back to, it's getting sent back to the fireworks like armory. And at that point, the armory is going to, they're going to either dispose of it if they like, they're going to inspect it, and they're going to look at it and determine, hey, is this thing still usable? And if it's still good, it'll get used in another show. Like that'll get fired again. The reason why this didn't go up was because of a fusing mishap. So that was a problem with the fuse, or with the, sorry, not with the fuse, but with the connection between the fuse and what they call the electric match. So the electric match is basically a big, the electric match is a bit of sort of gunpowder or other pyrotechnic material on an electric, or on a wire. And so when an electric current is put through that wire, that E-match goes off and it lights up whatever it's at. This cord that I'm holding it by, this yellow cord, is actually fuse. And so that fuse is, if you light that fuse, it's designed to burn very quickly. I just, if we go back to my my intro, we can see this fuse. That fuse is real slow, right? And that's the fuse that we expect. That's the fuse we've sort of seen in, in cartoons and so forth. That is not actually how this fuse will work. If this fuse lights, it will actually burn faster than you can see it. By the time you realize it's on fire, it will already have burnt that entire length. That's intended to be faster. The fuse that's in my intro there is actually fuse that you will see that sort of stuff used on the site. And so what I want to show you guys, we're going to go back to that brand thing, and I just want you to see how evenly it burns. So let me just pull that up again and just watch how evenly it's burning. You see how that crawls at a very predictable, precise kind of rate? The reason why is that the stuff that's used in my intro is actually used for timing. So let's say I've got a rack of 6 shells, and I want that rack to go off one after another, spaced say 4 seconds apart. And so I want them all to go, but I want them spaced 4 seconds apart. So what I do at that case, like what you do is you would actually, you'd link them up, but then you'd put 4 seconds worth of that, delay element between each one. And then that way one signal goes, it starts that whole sequence, but that timing element causes it to wait before it fires the next one. So the other way you would do that is if you wanted them to, if you wanted to fire them all at once, you just connect them without any sort of timing, timing element between them. Or you could match them individually so that the fire control box could then fire them one after another, one after another. Eliza, I see your comment there. I'm going to talk about that too. So let's... So I can show you guys some other pictures here. Let me pull up some other photos. We'll just pull this one down, and I'll put up a new photo here. And this one. Nope, that's the wrong one. This one. So this is also from the show. You might be wondering, what is all this stuff? Well, those racks of stuff are, so each of those tubes, you can see the ones that are yellow or blue or green. Those ones are made of fiberglass. The ones that are black, those are metal. They're steel. So those tubes are basically like they're basically like the barrel of a gun. So this is a whole bunch of guns. You see those pink and yellow wires? Those wires are connecting things up to the fire control box. Those are electric match. So those wires are what connects everything to the central box there. And so there's a the fire control box, each one of those boxes has, I think it's 32 separate firing signals, and then those boxes can be threaded together. So I think that this near station, there's actually 2 stations that you can see in this video or in this picture here, but I think that this near station actually has 3 separate boxes set up to run it. Each of those boxes gets sent back to a central mechanism, and that central mechanism, all of it, basically that central mechanism controls the whole show. So everything else is from that main, main section there. So this is sort of how things go. That you can see the dumpster in the back, right? The dumpster in the back is where they put the big shells. And the reason why they're in the big shells is why the big shells are in the dumpster is that dumpster is full of sand. And so the big barrels are buried in the sand so that because they generate a tremendous amount of force when they're fired. So that's why they're in the sand. It's just to keep them in place. So all of this is and the plastic on top is waterproofing because you don't want water to get in there. Water will keep them from firing, and that is a bad situation. So all of these are plastic wrapped and just ready to go. So all of this is a perfect perfectly safe sort of thing. Somebody's saying the dumpster over there with the light poles. There was no issue with the light poles. It's no problem at all there. So somebody says I haven't seen ground firing in a while. We use barges mostly here. They've got a park that they cordon off for this, so that works. Let me show you a little bit of what the show looks like because I got to see the show from an angle that most people don't get to see the show from. Most people don't get to see the show from the bridge. They're seeing it from a little further away. So let me just pull this up here. I'm just going to find the video file. Let me just track it down here once I can. Here we go. And all right, here we go. So this is some of our so this is our fireworks show here. And you can see it's a great great video here. I'm just gonna I am standing right in front of a post here. Let me move on to another point where I'm skip over here a little bit. Somebody was asking how long was the show. The show was about 15 minutes, I think. So yeah. I just saw this comment come up. They should have made fireworks a selling point for my home. The first year we lived here, we realized you could see them all from our yard. It's amazing. There's actually an apartment complex that they put up Canadian flags on the and I see somebody saying 20 minutes total. they put up Canadian flags on the balconies, and lots of people sit out there. It would be an amazing place to watch it. What is it? It's then somebody was saying that I look like I'm really close. This is because I'm actually filming that from the drop zone. Like, this is actually an area where theoretically people have to be cleared unless they're part of the fireworks team, because that's actually an area where explosives could land. So that's why I look so close, because I'm super, super close. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's also very quiet, because somebody I just saw said it's funny to hear the fireworks without the oohs and ahs of kids who are amazed. It's really quiet up there in this weird way. I put earplugs in because the booms are really loud, but you don't hear the people talking. You don't hear the oohs and the ahs until the end. At the end of it, you actually, you can still hear all the people sort of go, ooh, wow. So that's kind of its own interesting aspect there. All right. So just trying to fight with my computer that's being a little annoying here. There we go. All right. And yeah, some people are saying my dog hates fireworks. Yeah. So the dogs dogs often don't care about or care for fireworks. So I'm going to get to some super chats, some membership stuff, and I will also answer some questions that I saw. John Coman, thank you very much for the YouTube membership. It's much appreciated. Nicholas Staros, 5th of July, USA will have 5% less fingers. I hope not quite that strong of an impact. Traveling Science Man, thank you for the YouTube membership. Much appreciated. Chrissy actually made it live. Edmonton born, raised on Vancouver Island, and now living in the UK. Happy belated Canada Day from an expat, up late drinking stout. Awesome. That's a good way to be. Eliza Crowan saying drone fireworks becoming popular here now, I guess. Yeah, some places are doing drone fireworks. I'm not as big of a fan about that, but the other thing is that drone fireworks really don't have the ability to replace fireworks at this point, because there's several thousand shows a year, and there's not enough capacity for drone shows. So yeah, love from Sweden. Well, thank you very much. Likewise. So yeah, this is somebody saying, did I wear ear protection? I did, yes, because I was very I'm close in, so I wear ear protection. I actually threw on eye protection before after I started the camera. I went, oh right, I should wear those. Hannah Young, question, what's the backstory? How did you become involved in fireworks? Sorry if I missed a previous video explaining this. I saw somebody on Facebook saying, hey, I'm taking the fireworks course. And I went, how do I get in on this? And they went, oh, well, we're taking a course. I wonder if there's still spaces. So I checked, and there were still spaces. So I went and registered for the course. And then once you're registered for the course, when they need people, they're like, hey, would you like to do some fireworks? And I went, you bet I will. You bet I will. So I've been doing it ever since. And fantastic. Lots of cities in Canada canceled their fireworks this year. We had a drone light show. I'm not as big a fan of the drone shows. I mean, I'll go out for a fireworks show. I won't go out for a drone show. They just, watching a robot doing a thing doesn't really, yeah. Do I have to sign a waiver? No, I'm working the show. So you don't typically get employees to sign a waiver. So yeah, that was kind of the fun on that. It was a grand experience there. And so we can talk a little bit about what kind of things you might see out there, because there's all sorts of things that you might actually see in a fireworks show. I can demystify it a little bit. So this is part of the aftermath of a fireworks show. So what you can see here, what these things are, these are cake boxes that are in this trash bin. And you might be saying, hey, these cake boxes, what, what are they about? Like, what's the deal here? A lot of the time it makes sense to use a cake, and a cake is just a preset, like a pre-made sort of mini show. And what I mean by a pre-made mini show is they're they have however many shots just already ready to go that are of small calibers. And so you basically just, once the fuse is lit, it will do a thing. And so the cake boxes here, you've got the so whenever you see a show and you see there's like something from the ground and it fires like 20 times in succession, that'll be a cake. That's what those are. Similarly, when you see the things that go from one side to another, so they'll like shoot in sort of a fan shape, those are called fans. And you can have a cake of fans. So all of these are various little things that are used. And in making these, a lot of these cakes are things that you can't buy as as a regular Canadian. You have to buy you have to be a a licensed person for this. So yeah, I think that this is super fun, super exciting. And somebody was saying, make sure that those cakes get doused. The thing is each of those cakes, everything that we use gets checked before anything happens. So all of the cakes get checked to make sure that everything fired. All of the all of the tubes get checked to see if anything didn't fire. We want to make sure that everything that is supposed to have ended up in the sky ended up in the sky. Kristen M96, David made you a ghost pepper on Mars and Dragon Saturday. I will have to check that out. So yeah, but that's kind of how these things go. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot of work. There is 2 days of setup involved for the Canada Day show. So the day before they do some setup, and then the day of they do setup as well. It's a ton of work. And after the show, so the show is at like 11. The show takes like 20 minutes, right? And once the show goes off, you end up there's a 30-minute cool down period. And that cool down period is just to make sure that there's nothing that that might go off that hasn't yet, right? So it's just making sure that anything that that is going to go off has already gone off. So that's what that's for. If anything fires during that cooldown period, and sometimes it's been known to happen, then that cooldown period restarts and everything begins again. So yeah. All right. So let's I'll answer. I think there was a couple of super chats and a couple of other things, and then we'll swoop and discuss some other things. So Angie Torres, thank you very much for 5 gifted memberships. It's much appreciated. Caitlin Moore, member chat saying, sending everyone good vibes for the 4th from Boston. Oh yes, it's the 4th tomorrow. I hope everyone enjoys the heck out of that. Brentwood Chic, thank you very much for 10 gifted memberships. Shelby Fogg, dog herdy and talking, and is now looking for pats. Give the doggo some pats, because that sounds like a good doggo. I mean, all doggos are good doggos, but that sounds like an especially good doggo. How long did setup take? Yeah, it's about 2 days. Apologies if I missed that part of the story. And David made you a ghost pepper on Lawyers and Dragons Saturday. Lol. We will. I'm gonna have to watch through that one. All right, I'm gonna look at a lawsuit, and then after we look at the lawsuit, we will go on and look at. I'll tell you guys the fish story after that. So first, swoop. I see. I was just texting with the guy who voiced Robin and Nightwing for Batman animated works. He's a longtime friend. He should come on soon. That is super cool. That's on your channel? Because if so, I will watch the heck out of that, because that is awesome. All right, so let us look at a lawsuit here. And let me just find it here. It's one of these unlabeled. There we go. All right. Embiggen. Can I embiggen this? Do I have the ability to embiggen? I do not. Okay. So I'm going to have to read this to you because I really can't embiggen. It's not letting me. So this is a lawsuit between Jessica Simpson, aka Jessica Yaniv. Now, this was filed on June 23rd, and they are suing a Mr. Perez for the amount of $34,041 and no cents. Now, if you don't know who Jessica Yaniv / Simpson is, Jessica Yaniv is known for having gone to the Human Rights Tribunal in over in BC, seeking to get money from people who were doing waxing. So the waxing, specifically, they were people who were doing sort of ladies waxing. And so the reason why Jessica Yaniv / Simpson is an issue there, or had an issue there, is because she is a trans woman and went over to these people and said, "Hey, I would like you to wax my scrotum." And they went, "Well, we don't actually offer that service because that is something that requires a fair bit of specialized knowledge and expertise." Let's see if I can do this to zoom in. All right. Oh, yes, there we go. Now we can embiggen. So, and they're saying, like, we don't do that. So that got thrown out at the Human Rights Tribunal. So the that got tossed because, and in amongst other things, there were allegations that that there was issues of racism as to why these places were being targeted. There was all sorts of other issues. So they are suing this person for general damages in the amount of $15,000. Now, general damages would be damages like injuries you actually suffered, right? Like stuff that you actually, your actual losses in some way. Replacement medication in the amount of $305. Intentional infliction of mental distress for $12,500. Or is it? No, that's got to be $12,500 because I don't see otherwise how that would. $3,000 for punitive damages and $3,000 for special damages. Total $33,805 plus their filing fees of $156. And so, yes, they want $34,041. All right. So you might be saying, why do they want that? So we will just pull this up here and embiggen. All right. Proceedings commenced in Surrey. Jessica Simpson is a 36-year-old disabled woman with severe type 1 diabetes, severe anxiety, PTSD, and depression. Jessica Simpson is a third-year Bachelor of Arts in Criminology student with a joint major in Gender, Sexuality, and Women's Studies with an extended focus on molecular biology and biochemistry, genetics, and bioinformatics. Okay. Jessica Simpson relies on a 2-year-old chocolate Labrador Retriever service dog named Rexy for alert and task performance. We'll talk about that. Now, somebody's saying, what is a quantum? Quantum is amount. Quantum is like numbers. So the quantum of damages is how many dollars do you want? That's that's that. All right. So Jessica Simpson was with her mother, Miriam Yaniv, during the time of the incident at 12:30 p.m., June 23rd, 2023. Miriam Yaniv is also a bit of a piece of work, but Jessica herself has had issues where she was charged, and I think she got a conditional discharge, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't remember exactly, but relating to having a possession of a prohibited device, to wit, a stun gun. So as Jessica's blood sugar was nearing a level of 2.0, Jessica went to Great Afghan Kebab to eat. Her mother, Miriam Yaniv, had gone inside to advise staff that she's not feeling well and that she has a service dog. What is it? I am not a diabetic. Can somebody who is, or who has nursing or other sort of medical, what, like, is a blood sugar of 2.0? How bad is that? I don't know for certain. Somebody can hopefully tell me just how bad that is. Because yeah, this one is, I'm just trying to gauge how bad this is. I see 2.0 is really low, need glucose at that point. Blood sugar 2.0 bull S, that's dead. So bad. Yeah. Blood sugar of 2.0 equals coma. All right. So, and I see people, or somebody saying that the Canadian standard is our scale for BS. I'm not sure if that's blood sugar or a different blood or BS, but yeah. So I see people saying that this is real bad. So, anyway, so she goes to Great Afghan Kebab to eat. They say she has a service dog. Now, a staff member believed to be Amran Peraz denied service, to which Miriam then told Jessica about such. Jessica then went inside the establishment to verify what the issue is. She was then told that no pets allowed. Jessica advised that the dog is a service dog, to which the staff member stated, "Don't care, no service dogs." This would be a problem, except we're going to talk about some other things. So Jessica then said, "What if this was a blind person?" And we'll go to the next page here, just so that we can embiggen. With a guide dog. The staff member said, "Still no dogs." Now, I see some people, who are upset about Jessica being trans. That's not the issue with Jessica Yaniv. I have two flies in here. They must have gotten through the AC gap there. That's annoying. All right. So, now here's the thing. It is a really big deal if you deny access to a properly accredited service dog. But we're going to get to that. While uncertified and certified service dogs have the same access rights, I don't know if that's the case. We're going to look that up. At no time did the staff member request or raise any question about it being a service dog. They simply said no service dogs. This could be an issue potentially, but that doesn't necessarily mean, that it is here. So I'm just looking here. Jessica then left the establishment, took Baqsimi, I guess that's the medication, and called Surrey RCMP and advised of the situation. Jessica then noticed a police car next door and found the officers and explained the situation. The officer was Constable Lucas Braithwaite, badge 190 from Surrey Police Service. I bet that officer loved being asked for badge number. So I bet that they just loved that. Now, so that is that's its own issue there. Now, there are sort of complicated things about service dogs. We'll talk about that once we get there, but we'll sort of proceed on. During that time, Jessica's blood sugar had sunk to 2.0 and required food immediately. Her health began to deteriorate. Now, I mean, if you are the sort of person who is suffering from, like, who deals with low blood sugar, that this seems like like most of the diabetics I know carry around candies or something like that. So that seems odd to me that you wouldn't have that kind of thing. Similarly, if you're this desperate, you would not be going and saying like if they're saying, hey, you can't come in with your dog, your mom is there. You just send your mom in to be like, hey, we need a food. We need we need something to eat. Like, hey, can we get a can of Coke to go? And I'm pretty sure the establishment would have, covered that. It's like, hey, you're sick? Have a can, right? That's fine. The other thing is that while they're supposedly in this medical emergency, they're talking to the police. And what are they talking to the police about? It's not go take me to the hospital or get me some anything. They send the police into the Great Afghan Kebab and provide them with a police caution. And the excuse they gave was, we're Muslim and we're clean people, implying that Jessica and her mother, Miriam and Eve, are dirty individuals. This is ridiculous because that isn't what that implies at all. This implies that we're Muslim and clean people, and we don't consider dogs to be clean animals. Like, this is clearly a reference to the dog, not the people. And this is such obvious BS, right? Anybody with minimal knowledge of Islam knows that dogs are not considered clean animals. So, yeah. Now, yeah. So while the discrimination is prima facie under the jurisdiction of the BC Human Rights Tribunal, the issues in regards to personal injury are under the jurisdiction of the Provincial Small Claims Court of BC. Okay. They say it is for this and other reasons that this is a personal injury case that should receive the maximum amount of damages, both general, aggravated, special, and punitive, that can be awarded as per the jurisdiction of the court. You haven't actually laid out how you were injured, though. Like, this is a claim that you should be making here. The claimant, Jessica Simpson, is also requesting costs of this action. I don't know if you can get costs in small claims in BC. That'll be an interesting thing to look up here. The claimant, Jessica Simpson, had a doctor's appointment approximately 6 p.m. with her doctor regarding the situation. Okay. What does that mean? You had a doctor's appointment, but what did the doctor actually say? What happened? Were you injured in some fashion? The defendant, Amran Peraz, runs a business under a sole proprietorship. The business number is this. According to Fraser Health records on HealthSpace, and Google reviews show there to be a history of rude customer service and abusive issues from the business towards clientele. This is completely irrelevant and hearsay and BS. It should also be noted that there are people making allegations, and I can't confirm one way or another because I don't know, but a lot of people are claiming that that some of those reviews came from Yaniv. So, yeah. The business refuses to discuss the matter as they've blocked communication on Facebook after sending them a message relating to the matter. They're not required to do that. It is believed that owner may own a second similar business in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Who cares? This is not relevant. Being Muslim does not give the owner a free pass to willfully discriminate and cause personal injury to the claimant and others. You haven't actually indicated how you're injured here. Calling the claimant dirty, which they never did, according to, you haven't specified that here, along with the refusal of service based on disability, causing further personal injury, has caused the claimant, Jessica Simpson, significant mental distress. The claimant, Jessica Simpson, her mother, Miriam and Eve, nor her service dogs are dirty by any means. I mean, dogs are, have rules around food service. So, yeah, that's sort of its own aspect there. All right. What is it? So this is its own sort of fun aspect there. Now, we get into all sorts of chaos. So first thing, I'm just kind of looking up some stuff as we go here, because this case is one that is frustrating as all heck. So let us pull up some of the past cases here. So this one we'll just drag over and boop. Yaniv versus various waxing salons. Number 3. And why is this number 3? Well, because this kept happening over and over and over again. So and I'm just checking. I see somebody complaining about the slow chat. I don't know what our slow rate is at, but hopefully not too bad. So Jessica and Eve filed complaints. Oh, I got to embiggen. There we go. Hopefully people can read this now. Against a number of waxing providers, alleging that they discriminated against her on the basis of her gender identity. Those complaints were heard in July 2019. In number 2, I dismissed Ms. Yaniv's complaints and ordered her to pay costs to 3 of the respondents. Ms. Yaniv now applies for reconsideration of that decision. She argues that a number of the findings in that decision are wrong and unfair toward her, and that she cannot afford to pay the costs I have ordered. I have not found it necessary to seek submissions from the respondents. Now, this is real bad. If you bring a claim and somebody says, and the court says, you know what? I don't even need to hear from the other side. It means you suck real hard. That means you suck real bad. All right. I'm just, this is terrible. This is like, you suck so bad that we don't even need to hear the other side of things. So, for the reasons that follow, the application is denied. As a preliminary matter, Ms. Yaniv asks that this application be decided by a different member of the Human Rights Tribunal. However, the practice of the tribunal is that reconsideration applications are decided by the member who made the original decision. That member is most familiar with the evidence and issues in the complaint and best placed to efficiently determine whether there is basis to reconsider the original decision. And they cite a bunch of case law on that. There's an exception to this principle where the member who decided the original decision recuses themselves because of a reasonable apprehension of bias. In order for me to grant this request, Ms. Yaniv would have to lead evidence to displace the weighty presumption of impartiality. The question is whether an informed person viewing the matter realistically and practically and having thought the matter through would conclude that it is more likely than not that whether consciously or unconsciously, whether consciously or unconsciously would not decide fairly. Ms. Yaniv speculates is a big word there, that I did not decide the final decision fairly and could not decide this application fairly because I was being harassed by members of the public via Twitter and my email account. She suggests I have been and would be influenced by public pressure to decide against her. It is my ethical and legal obligation as a member of this tribunal to decide cases based on the evidence before me and not based it on public sentiment. The law presumes that I do so. I can assure Ms. Yaniv that I have never felt personally harassed about her case or pressured to reach a certain result. She's pointed to no evidence to support such an argument. Human rights complaints are frequently the subject of public interest, scrutiny, and debate. That fact alone could not create a reasonable apprehension that a decision maker could not decide the matter fairly. I deny Ms. Yaniv's request to recuse myself from this application. So she takes a run at the tribunal leader, like the tribunal member who's hearing it, and the tribunal member says, no. Generally speaking, once the tribunal decides an issue, that issue is final. The burden is on the person seeking to have a decision reconsidered to show that doing so is in the interests of fairness and justice. So they have limited jurisdiction here. In her application for reconsideration, Ms. Yaniv primarily seeks to re-argue the merits of her complaint. That's a downside. Saying, oh, you're re-arguing the merits of your complaint is not, that's not favorable to Yaniv here. That's saying you kind of suck and you're unlikely to get what you want. She takes issue with my assessment of her credibility and argues that the following findings of fact are wrong. So these are the things that she dislikes as findings of fact. So the court determined certain things in the course of this hearing, and she takes issue with all of them. I think this is basically all of the findings of fact, other than like Yaniv exists. So let's see what the issues are. A, that a Brazilian wax is the removal of genital hair from a person with a vulva. Okay, so that's a hell of a place to start taking issue. We're gonna have some difficulty if that's where the problems are starting. All right. B, most of the respondents to her complaints presented as racialized with English not as their first language. You can see that there are some issues here, right? This wasn't just that she's going after these salons, but there were some indications that she was going after salons based on particular details. As noted, next that she targeted certain ethnic groups. So that was a finding of fact by the court. The court determined that, in fact, she had targeted certain ethnic groups in the process. So that's a big problem, especially because I'm just going to note Jessica Yaniv is noting that she is in a pre-law program. She wants to be a lawyer one day. You know what? Normally I would say anybody who wants to be a lawyer, give it a go, give it your best, go and reach for that dream. Yaniv, I'm going to say, maybe don't. If you're in a situation where you are being found by a court to have engaged in racism, I don't think the Law Society is going to be super thrilled with that. So D, that the respondents denied her services because she had a scrotum. E, that the respondents did not customarily provide the services of waxing scrotums. F, that she was trying to make Ms. Benapal feel uncomfortable by asking whether she would wax around a tampon string. G, that she holds stereotypical and negative views towards immigrants. That was, again, a finding of fact by the court. The court determined that as a fact. H, that her explanation about the timing of her travel to Ms. Da Silva was unlikely. And I, that she deliberately manufactured the conditions of each of her complaints and engaged in deception. So the deliberately manufactured is basically that there's allegations that essentially she had a scheme to go to these waxers, and to knowing that these waxers were unlikely to provide services, and then to get denied service and then go to the Human Rights Tribunal in order to get money. That's essentially what was going on there. And this is an important comment here. Yeah. All right. These are not arguments that could support a reconsideration of my decision. The findings in the final decision are final, hence why they call it a final decision. Aside from her general disagreement with my findings, Ms. Yaniv has not explained how fairness or justice warrants reconsideration. To challenge my findings of fact and assessment of credibility, Ms. Yaniv must file a petition for judicial review and argue that those findings are unreasonable in light of the evidence before the tribunal. I do not have jurisdiction to now reweigh the evidence and reach the conclusions that Ms. Yaniv wants. Next, Ms. Yaniv raised a new argument that she, or maybe other transgender women, require genital hair removal in preparation for surgery. This was not an issue raised at any time in her complaints, and it is not open for me to consider it now. In any event, this would not have affected my analysis of any of the issues in her complaints. This is something that, like, on appeal, you typically can't go to the appellate court and be like, oh, I thought of a new argument. I should have argued this before, but I just thought of it now. And so, can we do this on appeal? That's not how appeals work. So third, Ms. Yaniv argues that Ms. Hehar could not justify the denial of service based on a bona fide reasonable justification. This is not a basis for reconsideration. It is the law. I made no finding about whether Ms. Hehar had met that burden in this case. My decision did not have the implication that Ms. Yaniv suggests it does, which is to open a dangerous window of opportunity for people to engage in discrimination. Even if it does, that is not a basis for reconsideration. Fourth, Ms. Yaniv asked that I add the word "at the time" after "she was not menstruating" in paragraph 51. I previously told Ms. Yaniv that reconsideration is not an opportunity to edit or wordsmith a decision. Letter dated June 2nd, 2019. This is not a change necessitated by the interests of justice and fairness. I'm just also going to note, Ms. Yaniv is a trans woman. There is no "at the time" to the menstruating issue. I mean, I don't think that's transphobic. That's just straight up, like, biology. So there is no "at the time." Like, why would you be saying that you have to add the time at the time? What time do you think this is going to be happening? I just don't know. Finally, Ms. Yaniv asked that I reduce the amount of costs I awarded against her, explaining that she cannot afford to pay such a high award and has already suffered because of anti-trans harassment and attacks. And in fairness, she has suffered because of anti-trans sentiment. But more to that point, she's suffered because people have recognized that she's a terrible human being and truly awful, and that, like, the trans community doesn't accept her as, like, it's like, okay, you can do your thing, but you are not somebody we're gonna, like, nobody likes you. Nobody wants you there. In fact, some of the most ardent people calling out Jessica Yaniv / Simpson / etc. Are trans individuals who are like, what the heck is wrong with you? So in their application, the represented respondents expressly sought an order of $15,000 in costs. Ms. Yaniv had the opportunity to explain her financial circumstances to the tribunal and did not. Instead, she focused her argument on her position that she is not engaged in improper conduct. She was not denied any fairness in the process. To allow her to reopen and re-argue this issue would undermine the finality of the tribunal's proceedings and is not justified in this case. So, yeah. She is a frustrating individual. She has gone after all sorts of different groups, and she went after Rebel News Network. She has pursued, she pursued the waxing salons. She, all of this sort of issues there. So this is not something that that people are fans of. Yaniv has not made friends in this regard. So, and this is an important point. You can literally rip things open if you get waxed with an untrained or apprehensive clinician. Like, this was actually noted by people, which is that the skin down there is kind of vulnerable and at risk. Now, I see some people in the chat are wanting me to, go after and, saying like I'm not going to argue the gender naming fight. That's not what Yaniv is about in terms of like why people dislike Yaniv. And making that the issue just makes it easy for, to dismiss those claims. It's like, you just don't like trans people. And that's not the issue at all. It's that people don't like Yaniv because Yaniv seems to be specifically targeting people who are sort of racial minorities. You can see that that was a finding of the court. And that also I'm just wondering if there was a particular reason why they were at the Afghan kebab and donair, especially when we've already seen that, that Yaniv seems to have stereotypical and negative views of, of various various races. So, yeah, it's what is it? And where's the comment there? Yeah, she asked the technician if they were okay with waxing someone who's menstruating. Do they mind moving the string? And of course, the court noted that Yaniv was not menstruating. So, yeah. Some folks straight up file frivolous lawsuits and make money by taking small settlement offers. That I can't necessarily say that this most recent one is entirely frivolous, but there seems to be some issues on that one. The one before seems to have been completely frivolous. The Human Rights Tribunal with that. So they are taking it to small claims court in British Columbia, and let us see. Let's just pull up small claims. So small claims deals with cases that range to up to $35,000. So that's why are they asking for almost $35,000? Well, that's the limit. So let's go back and look at this again. Just, we see $34,000. So let's look at this as a lawsuit, right? Let's look at this in terms of this is a lawsuit. Does this lawsuit have merit? Starting point, general damages, injury to life, safety, security. General damages would be money you actually lost, right? Money that you actually expended. And so what I'm going to see here is we see that there's this really nice round number, right? Really nice round number. So I'm expecting to see a really nice round number because let's say I'm walking down the street and you punch me in the face and you take my $10, right? This is a Canadian $10 bill. Yes, our bills look weird. So you take my $10. Well, I can claim for the $10 as like general damages. Like this is $10. Similarly, if I had to go to a dentist because you punched me in the face and the dentist writes me a bill for $800, well, then I come back and I say, hey, look, I have this bill for $800. Now, so where do we have, do we have any sort of losses here? So I'm not seeing anything. Nope. No $15,000 coming up here. So I don't see how you get to 15 grand here. I think that based on the pleadings here, the actual general damages are $0 is what we're looking at here. Replacement medication, estimated cost $305. Okay, you took medication. Maybe you can claim for $305. That said, did you were you willing to just order a kebab to go? Like have your mom go in and get that? Because you've got a duty to take steps to mitigate and so forth. So, yeah. Intentional infliction of mental distress. I don't see that there was an intentional infliction of any mental distress here. And I don't even know if this is the kind of case that they hear, because small claims only looks at certain things. I'm bringing up the webpage here. So there we go. Hopefully you guys can see this. Must involve debt or damages, recovery of personal property or opposing claims to personal property, performance of agreements, so contracts. What do they not deal with? Well, motor vehicle accidents, strata owners, interest in land, personal property security, bankruptcy, tenant or trademarks, wills and estates, libel and slander. So I'd have to pick this out because I'm not in BC. So, and I haven't sort of done all of this one and, looked at all of this. But I don't know that they can necessarily claim for things like intentional infliction of mental distress in small claims in BC. That seems a little so. Now, intentional infliction of mental distress has a definition. It's not just you did something that gave me a sad, right? Because people do things that give us a sad all the time, right? People do things that make us upset all the time. It's just, so you need for it to be a little further. You need to have it go a little further than that. That, you've got to have some actual aspects, because this is a difficult tort to claim. It's a difficult thing. So you need, first of all, some sort of outrageous or flagrant conduct. And it has to have had an intent to cause some of, the harm produced. And it had to have caused, and you have to have caused actual harm. Like, to get the mental distress, you have to show that you had actual mental distress. This has to be something that is just, that is recognizable. This is something where you're going to need some sort of actual diagnosis or expert evidence. So, here we've got intentional infliction of mental distress. I don't think that they weren't allowing Yaniv in order to, specifically in order to make Yaniv stressed out. It was just they didn't want Yaniv in. Okay, they just didn't want Yaniv there. That doesn't seem like the distress was the intention. It just seems like it's a side effect. And so, yeah, I just don't see it. There's also nothing in these pleadings that talks about mental distress having been caused in any meaningful way. We actually see at the beginning something that harms the claim. Right at the beginning, 36-year-old disabled woman with severe type 1 diabetes, severe anxiety, PTSD, and depression. So those things were pre-existing. Whereas intentional infliction of emotional distress might be like, let's say I've got a neighbor, and the neighbor rolls up at 4 a.m. every morning with a flatbed truck covered in speakers, and they just start booming heavy bass at me every morning at 4 a.m. And so then I get woken up. I can't sleep because they're, causing me this stuff. That might be intentional infliction of emotional distress. Similarly, you might have intentional infliction of emotional distress if somebody's like, hey, I kidnapped and killed your dog, right? That might be something of intentional infliction of emotional distress. So, yeah. So that I just don't see. I just don't see it. I'm not seeing it at all here. This to me is looking a little frivolous. All right, let's go back to the thing. And punitive damages, $3,000. they might actually like have a claim for punitive damages in the sense of if you are bouncing us from a from a place where we're allowed to be. Now, I need to look up because I see that certified service dogs are not allowed to be refused from restaurants. But you have to be like, it seems to me that there's a restriction for, for that. So, restaurants have special rules on all of this. You can't just be like, I declare this to be a service dog. So, that's, that's kind of a concern there. So, I don't think that they're gonna, get a whole lot of, traction here. Special damages. I don't even know what the special damages is for here, other than to get it close to the 35,000. So now they might have some claims on the basis of like, hey, I'd refuse you even if you were blind. But you know who should have brought that claim? The blind person, right? The blind person should have had that claim. I think that Yaniv is going to run into some questions bringing this as to whether Rexy is actually a service dog or not, because that that's going to be a question. So we'll have to see what comes of this one. Now, I'm just wondering, like the proper place normally, if you think somebody is discriminating against you on the basis of disability or failing to accommodate your disability, where would the proper place be? Oh, right. It would be the Human Rights Tribunal. Why doesn't she want to go to the Human Rights Tribunal? Because she's gotten slapped down there hard. So hard. And I see people saying that in the US, it's illegal to ask for certification. In BC, my understanding is that it's not. Yeah, I think BC's got a, provides people who have a certified, thing as with like a card to say that. So, all right. And the reason why there's certification is because they've got to actually verify that your dog's not going to do something like go into the kitchen and, so forth. So, yeah. Now I'm just going to pull up something else. I didn't check this beforehand because I got sent this very close to showtime, but I still wanted to talk about it because it was Yaniv up to chaos. So, so we are going to look up what is the restaurant here? What do they call it? Great Afghan Kebab. Great Afghan in Surrey. All right. I'm just going to go and Google Street View this. So here we go. All right. Now Google Street View gets annoyed if I, if I pull things up. So I don't think they want me showing you their screen. So I'm going to describe here what we see. We've got the Great Afghan Kebab is in a little sort of mini mall place. Right next to it is the Ato Sushi Bar. So personally, if I got denied access and I needed food at the Great Afghan Kebab, rather than calling the cops, I mean, maybe you go and like seek redress later, but I would next go to the sushi bar. Also right there is Big Ridge Brewing. They would have sugars and so forth. That is another place that she could have gone. Right adjacent is the A&W. A&W would have provided service. Next to that is the Chevron with the On the Run grocery store or little convenience store. They would have also provided service. Across the street is the Shell gas station, which also has a convenience store and could have provided service. Like, this is a place, they're not like in some food desert, like some small town where there's just the one restaurant and, there's nothing else to eat. There's restaurants all over the place here. So, why is it that they're, getting upset about the great Afghan kebab to the degree that they're going to the police here and waiting when they're saying, "Oh my God, I'm so desperate for nutrition that I can't anything," and there's just so many different establishments there. I suspect that this lawsuit is going to die in flames. Yeah, I see. Go into A&W, order a small root beer, and you're done. Yep. Like, it's just so much. But, with all of those locations, which one does she go to? The Great Afghan Kebab. And I'm just going to say, like, if I was at very low blood sugar and I needed sugars in my bloodstream right now, I'm probably looking for something like, I don't know, a lemon drop, or something that is rapid sugar. Not something like, hey, can you go and start cooking me a kebab? Like, just so now I kind of want a kebab, and that's ridiculous because I actually just ate. So yeah. All right, let's cover some cover some of the super chats here and gift memberships and so forth, and then I'll do a swoop, and then I have a fish story to tell you. So yeah, this fact pattern just doesn't make sense. This isn't what you do when you're hypoglycemic. I'm wondering, like, does British Columbia allow some places don't allow lawyers in small claims, but I would fight this one just for giggles. Like, this one, I think I would go to town on, because, oh my God, this one would be fun. So, great Afghan kebab, I hope they've got counsel, but yeah, I mean, this is one I would run for no money. Now, I'm just going to note as well, Yaniv is noted to be litigious and to have all sorts of issues. So Yaniv / Simpson, if you take issue with this, come at me, because we'll we'll get you declared vexatious if you want to come at me with some sort of lawsuit, or a law society complaint. As noted, the issue here is not that you're trans, because people should know, like, I do work with, like, I support armed equality. I support, all sorts of various other groups. It's just, you're awful personally. So that's it. So Angie Torres, thank you very much for 5 gifted memberships. Much appreciated. Kathy at Oz, thank you for the member chat, saying eyeballs and then, like, way surprised emoji. Midnight Dreary, thank you for 5 gifted memberships. Much appreciated. Cheryl C, thank you for the member chat, saying there are legit service dogs for diabetes. Yeah, and I just doubt that this is a legit service dog. I doubt it. I might be wrong, but yeah. All right, so let's Runkle of the Bailey. Yeah, Lauren Lester is his name. That's talking about the guy who did the various voices there. I made a movie with the Ramones as a kid and was on Facts of Life. He's done a lot more, but he's like a brother. Took me out for my birthday. Fantastic. That is awesome. I'm a little envious because yeah, I grew up on those. I love those cartoons. So yeah. Yeah, I will reiterate, an a-hole is an a-hole, regardless of gender. Absolutely. All right. Caitlin Moore, in the U.S., there's no certification nationally that's legit. State law or state laws differ on in training or not, and access may differ. I think BC has a certification program. Wasn't Jessica declared by the HRT to be a vexatious litigant? I think that they actually held off. I don't think that they went quite so far as to declare vexatious, but I think they came close. Let me just. I mean that they determined that the complaint was vexatious, but I don't think they actually declared Yaniv to be a vexatious litigant. They found that they were not justified. They were brought for improper motives. So, yeah, I just don't see. So that's about it. I can't say. Interesting that she has a service dog, but Doggo was okay with getting kebabs instead of juice and emergency treatment or at a hospital. Interesting. Yeah. Sandra D, thank you for the YouTube membership. I mean, I would have gone into the A&W and been like, hey, can I have an orange juice? Right? I am having a diabetic moment. Can I have an orange juice? So, and somebody was asking, is Jessica Yaniv and Jessica Simpson the same person? They are. I don't know if that was an official legal name change or just a different name being used, but yeah. Crazy Cat Queen, perhaps she can file her response to the judge after she goes to law school. Lol. I don't think she's going to become a lawyer. Island, do we know how many different women-owned businesses Yaniv is sued for not wanting to view, touch, and groom a scrotum? I think it was like 15. So it was a lot. My question would be, why did she specifically send in her mother to ask? If it's an emergency, wouldn't she just go in? You'd think. Could argue blood sugar too low for rational choices. Yeah, but Mom, I mean, and Janine, I did hear you. I did. It came up on my things there. Adrienne Angevine, at that low, I make bad choices and get tunnel focused. Maybe the point of not seeing other restaurants, but Mom has no excuse. Absolutely. So, yeah, this one just makes me annoyed. All right, I am going to I'm going to roll a swoop, and then I'm going to tell you a fish story. All right, whoops, and I can pull this down. So, I should do another swoop for the fish story. Swoop. I think the bee fish is good for the the fish story. So, let's talk about my fish story, because and I'm going to crack open an innocent gun here. All right, so I went out to the range, and I went and I was just like, hey, I'm going to I had about like 45 minutes to go to the range. So I thought, this trip to the range is not going to be worth it, but I've already got a bunch of fishing gear in my car, and therefore I can I can make a fishing stop. There's actually a little pond right next to the range that's stocked, like it's a stocked pond. So yeah, it's so I can show you the pond here. Give me a second here. I'm just going to pull that up so that you guys can see where I was. So this is the pond, right? I've been there fishing. It's it's a little quiet spot. And no, I didn't. Joe Loy is saying, did I shoot a fish? I didn't shoot a fish. I did not shoot a fish. But you can see me out here fishing. So there's the rod. You can see right in the middle here. Right here, you can see my little bobber there. And so I went out and I've fished this pond a lot. Like I've fished there like, 20, 30 times. And I can tell you, I've not caught a fish before yesterday. In like 20 years. The last time I caught a fish, my age was like 1 something. So it's been a while. So, I went out and the first cast, my line got fouled. So I go to cast and just it turns into a big giant mass. And so I had to pull out I had to pull all this crap out and redo it. It was just such a giant. And now I didn't have a spare like a spare reel with line on it. So I just cut it out and I was like, it looks like I've got enough. Um, it looks like I've still got enough line on this to fish. And and somebody was asking, like, hey, what did you do with what did you do with all that junk line? The line I kept. Like you don't leave garbage line behind. That's not not a thing to do. So this is not the best fishing. There is a ton of what is it? There's a ton of weed um, in this pond. It's got it's overgrown with weeds and whatever, but it's quite pleasant there. I was hanging out. I was seeing ducks, and it was the right kind of year, so I'm seeing little ducklings. I saw a beaver. There's apparently a beaver operating in this pond. And there was also a little baby beaver. I tried to get a picture of the baby beaver and I couldn't. It was gone too fast, but it was super cute. It was this little tiny little thing swimming around. And so I was having a good time all the same. But, I get my line gets all tangled up. It's all this giant mess. So I've cut that off and I'm hoping I've got enough line to cast. So I cast and I get to the end of the line. Now, the end of the line is actually held by like this little grippy clip, basically. So it hits the end of the line and stops, and then it pops out of the clip for some reason, which was like I had to scramble and grab onto it so I didn't lose the line into the lake. So I'm holding on to this and I'm trying to get it re-stuck onto this, onto my reel there. And so I'm fiddling around and I'm going, it's like this would be the absolute worst time to catch a fish because I am like futzing around with this. I'm like screwing around. I'm whatever. And I'm like, but I don't need to worry about that because I haven't caught a fish in 20 years. So like, including at this lake. So there's not going to be any concern about this. Like, I don't need to worry. So um, I finally get this back on, like it's back, and I get some line back on the reel. It's like, okay, I'm good to go. I'm back in business. And then I look out and I'm like, son of a, because I had just replaced the weight because the first, like I'd previously cast and my weight was not enough weight. So I just put a little bit more weight on the line. And I look out and I'm like, frag, I have too much weight on because it was just this little tiny bobber. And I'm going, I sunk my bobber. Like my bobber's going to be at the bottom of this lake. I'm going to be stuck in the weeds. It's going to be this giant nightmare. So I'm trying to reel it back in, figuring like I've sunk my bobber. And I hadn't sunk my bobber. A fish had had bit and was swimming around underwater with my bobber, like just doing its thing. So I pull this up and I'm starting to reel it in, and then I feel like tug, and I'm like, oh, okay. Um, I actually have a fish on this, and it was a minor miracle that this fish didn't. I think it's a good thing that this is such a small lake, because if the fish had more room, it would have actually, like, it might have actually been able to take the line from me, and that would have been really bad. So anyway, I get this thing reeled in, and by the time I got it to me, this fish was already super tired out. And the reason why is because it took me half of forever futzing around trying to get my reel back, back in operation. That while I'm doing this, this fish has been swimming around with this bobber, tiring itself out on the bobber. And so finally it's like, all right. So I just pulled this thing in. And this fish is like, yeah, okay, you got me. I pull it up, give it a whack, clean it, and I'm like, well, that was something special. It was, it's a trout, and it tagged this, like, it totally went for this particular worm. It was just a worm on a hook, and it tagged it so hard that it was like all the way down in its gullet. This, I actually had to pull the hook out, not from the mouth end, but from the other end, because it just went all the way down. So yeah, I dug that out. And then I'm sitting there, I'm fishing. I'm like, wow, I got a fish. That is amazing. I haven't done this in forever. Then I'm sitting there, and this family rolls up. And I'm not really, okay, I'm a little judging the family, a little bit. But they're there, and so they've got 2 kids and a dog. And the kids are there, and they're shouting, they are screaming, they are just really having a great time. And them shouting and screaming is just like, the fish is absolutely, they're not it, like, they're done. There's a dock that's over on one side. It's not really a fishing dock because it's too high up, but it's got like a metal railing, and they're sitting there with sticks banging on the metal railing. And I'm going, could you not? Like, could you please not? But, they're doing that. They're throwing sticks into the lake so that the dog will swim out and um, catch retrieve the sticks. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm sending my wife a message going, hey, I got a fish, but I think I'm going to pack up because there's this family here, and they are making sure I will not catch another fish. Like, they are just absolutely wrecking my day. Just after I sort of finished saying that, the dad was like, okay, we're good. Like, let's go. And so they packed up everything and they left. And I was like, all right, let's try again. So, took me about half an hour. It was starting to rain. And I'm just like, okay, even though it's starting to rain, I'm going to keep trying. And so then I got the second one, and I was like, all right, we're good to go. So I got 2 fish, and I was like, we are good. That's a fish for me and a fish for Mrs. Runkle. So we're good. Somebody said that they wanted to see fish pictures. I have fish pictures. Give me a second. I will show fish pictures. Let's see. Nope, that is the wrong one. There we go. 2 rainbow trout. Just decent sized trout. Nothing wrong with them. And yeah, they're just having a great time there. So well, maybe not these 2. So I just and the other thing is, so I brought the pups what I thought was going to be a nice gift. I thought that they were going to really enjoy this. I saved the fish guts. I see somebody saying they're not rainbow. They should be. Oh yeah. Hey, I think that rainbow are the only thing they stock in this. Well, whatever. They're trout. Anyway, I saved the fish guts, figuring that the dogs would really like those. And so then I go and brought them back, called the fish over, or called the dogs over, put the fish guts into the dog bowls, and they looked at them, they sniffed at them, and they're like, nah, no. So I was like, what? I brought these all the way back from the lake. So they were just not interested. So Zora, on the other hand, after the fish were cooked, Zora loved a piece of fish. So that was top notch. But the fish guts, she was like, nope. That was it. So, and yeah, this is weird because Zora ate the surströmming liquid and so forth that was on the ground. So yeah, that so yeah, the what is it? The fish, or the dogs, just did not like the fish guts at all. Somebody was saying you can eat those. Yeah, I didn't see any warnings saying that you can't eat them there. So I hope I hope that there weren't any warnings, because but I think it's an artificial pond. I don't think that there's any sort of anything there. So yeah, it was a very nice day. I think I will what is it? I think I'm going to go back at some point. It's really nice when it's at the range. The only downside to it being at the range sort of area is that if I go and bring a restricted firearm like a handgun, that I can't stop the fish pond on the way back. I actually have to go directly directly back home. So yeah. That is sad. But I was out there shooting a rifle that I kind of like. I might use it for a 3-gun match, but it's very heavy, so I don't know. So I will have to check that out. I need to work out. Like, my arms are super weak. I've been actually doing a little bit of sort of leg, like running and so forth, and a bit of leg exercises. But yeah. Were the guts stinky? Not really. They were just new. Did I take out the new shotgun? No, I did not. It would have taken too much effort to load up the clays and the clay thrower and all of that stuff. So I just took out a rifle. I was actually doing it with a I was actually playing around with a new rifle scope, and the new rifle scope is really cool. In part because the new rifle scope actually has video recording features, so it lets me take video, which is like amazing. I never thought that would be a thing. So let me see. Maybe I can pull up a little bit of the video from it. Now, unfortunately, it also takes audio, and I didn't recognize that at the time. But let me see if I can pull up some of the video from it, because so I am just trying to figure this out in some of these clips. But let me just see what I can do here. All right, so let me show you this one. I'm just going to pull this up here. Oh, crud, I'm supposed to swoop. Let me swoop first. Oh, it's not in a format that... it's in .ts format. Let me see if this format will open even, or if I have to convert it. So... Nope, it won't open. I will have to do a switch over. So let's do a dog swoop. can I do this as a conversion? All right. Let me just try to get this all converted and switched over and all of that fun stuff, because I'm hoping I can share this video with you guys. Let me just see. Do I want to try some bow fishing? I would love to try some bow fishing. So, yeah. Somebody was saying, what is it? I will teach you to gain mass fast. I lift like Dorian Yates. I have a real commercial grade gym and lap pool in my LA home. I train Zach Levi. Ooh, that's cool. You only have to lift 2 hours weekly. Send me the details. I'm not really trying to get like bulk. I just want to be less useless. That's really what it comes down to. I want to be less useless, because I kind of sometimes feel like I am, it'd be good to have a little bit more ability to do some of these things. So that's why I want to sort of practice on all of this. So, all right. Looks like this video converter might work. Let me just see here. Video format, MP4 should work. All right, let's try this. Converting. See, I got to try a new to me shotgun, Mossberg 500 AB. Nice. Do you carry a briefcase or bag? Just add dead weight every week, and eventually you'll be able to curl 25 kilos. I'm actually thinking I may just try to walk walk around the block with a kettlebell, because I got a kettlebell, so I might try to do that. So oh, and I'm seeing send Kurt a link. I can send Kurt a link. Give me a second. 1 second, I will send Kurt a link. And where's the Kurt? There's the Kurt. All right. Kurt, you have been linked. So, all right. So yeah, I mean, I've been doing some running, and the reason why I've been doing some running is because, I just can't really run, and that's kind of miserable. Oh, and I see we've got something going on here, so.
Yeah.
Good way to do it.
Come with me if you want to lift.
I
heard you talking about gym and lifting. I'm like, ooh, let's talk about that now, because I've been doing gym for the last month pretty seriously. Been logging my workouts with my chat and channel, and I would love for you to be my gym buddy. That would be awesome.
I will need to. I gotta find a gym first thing, but it's just tough to find the time. But I'm gonna try to figure out some sort of plan on that.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to hire somebody, at least initially, to be like, hey, show me how to not suck.
Okay.
So,
well, I can provide some recommendations along these lines too. There's a couple good apps that I could recommend that help with putting together workouts and stuff. That's really good to get started. And the one I'm using now is called Volt, which is owned by Gatorade now, but was originally invented. Well, they bought it out. It was originally invented by I forget who it was originally invented by, but was used by for the NCAA for college athletic sports for their I think that was originally developed for that. And so I use that app, and you can hire a coach on that for like $99 a month and tell them what you want, and they'll put together a schedule for you if you want. And then there's one called Fitbod and one called BodBot that are pretty good, that help you put together workouts and tell you what you want. It tells you what machines or what workouts to do any given day, and you just log it and just tell you where you're feeling sore, and it tracks everything and does the rotations for you. So both are pretty good, and a good way to get started, especially before you start investing like $50 a session into a personal trainer or something, because actual personal trainers in person can get quite expensive.
That is fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up a video here just to show you something neat I've been playing around with. And I'm just going to mute it because I have no idea. But this is rifle video.
Guns.
I think it's pretty cool to be able to get like video footage within with this rifle scope at and this is me futzing with settings, so that's why you're getting like grass and so forth here. But
is that why I'm getting vertigo and
well,
nausea?
that's also you.
Okay.
But like, you can see the 200 and then there we've got
I'm
the
getting
800
motion sickness.
Fair. So yeah, you can see all the way out to the 800 yards on this thing. And that's what do you call it?
Please don't kill me. Here? Please don't kill me.
Nothing to worry about. Where did I put the thing? Where did I put it?
I should start trying to film my workouts at the gym. That'd be good.
Yeah, that's a great way to end up, in somebody else's TikTok.
Yeah. Start out with the machines. The machines are your friend. I think the fitness as a community as a whole tends to really poo-poo the machines, but they're great for getting started. Start with the machines.
The machines were invented to be good. So
yeah.
The other thing is that this is IR mode.
Okay.
So this is like viewed in infrared out to 800, 700 yards.
Okay.
So now the rifle it's on right now is there I am futzing with it. So the rifle it's on right now is it's shooting 223. So that's not great for going those distances. But I am really tempted to put it on like on a rifle that's got a bit more reach and just see if I can use it in that sort of video mode to start ringing gongs out at 500. So
you should be able to engage at 500 yards with a 223 with a little bit of practice.
Yeah, it's just there's a fair bit of drop.
It's true.
But 200, 300 wouldn't be too much trouble. I've got to what is it? I got to get that actually dialed in. It's not dialed in yet. I didn't have enough time to get it properly dialed in. Are we watching Curry Richard's Bond today? We're not watching the Bond today. I'll schedule a stream to just do that. 270 would be ideal. Yeah, although my 270's got a really good it's already got a really good scope on it, so I don't really want to mess with it. No, it's a 270 Winchester.
Okay. Really?
I've also
270?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is it like a lever action or something?
No. Bolt action.
Okay.
And it just I've taken I think 4 deer and a bear with it. So it just it does a great job. It's a great rifle. So I'm a big fan of it.
We're going to find you a gym, Runkle. I'm not going to let you move off topic. I'm going to help you find a gym. We're going to get you to the gym. We're going to log our workouts sessions together. We're going to be workout buddies.
Fair enough. Yeah, the drop is the same since gravity is constant. It's velocity that changes the curve. Yeah, it's just not going fast enough.
All you have to do is move fast enough so you don't hit the ground.
I don't know of a bullet that's going to end up in orbit, but the thing is if the bullet is going faster, it drops less over the time. So yeah. To be strictly
pedantic, there is changes in gravity in places on Earth for reasons that aren't clear. So you could always cheat gravity a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I do eat the bear. And why a bear? Because I'm gonna make stuff out of it. I am not really a wasting stuff kind of person. So I will like I try to use hides, I try to use
Bear is
everything.
now pelt.
My ideal thing would be I want to get a proper setup for processing them at home.
Oh yeah.
Because I want to be able to. I mean, I do things like use the. I do things like make bones out of the buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I know people have different feelings about hunting, but I'm not a fan of wasting anything. It just seems to me that if you're gonna shoot something, you should use it, right? So
well, just remember when you're hunting for bear, not to point the rifle at me.
You do not really look like a bear.
Depends who you ask.
Bears have more hair. And rarely, if ever, do bears wear cowboy hats. So bear are not the tastiest, but you can eat them. Like they're not. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that they're not necessarily as tasty. So that, yeah. So, did you catch the story about Yaniv?
I did not hear the story about Yaniv.
Oh, a serial, sort of spurious complainer. So it's somebody who's in our court system as causing trouble.
Are they a soft set?
Not a soft set. They're a person who likes using human rights complaints to extract money, and they were famous online for they went to a bunch of waxing salons.
Oh yes, I remember this story.
Yes,
I know exactly who you talk about. I hate them.
Yeah. Well, they're now suing an Afghan restaurant for
why
not accommodating the service dog, which may not actually be a service dog. She says she was in a diabetic emergency and went to this restaurant, and that they wouldn't let they wouldn't let the dog in, and so the meanwhile,
she's having a diabetic emergency, and she says, "I want to go to an Afghan restaurant." That definitely sounds like a sequence of events that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think of that as like what you do to get your blood sugar up. But especially because there's like an A&W that was like 30 feet away, and I'm pretty sure that the A&W would have like high fructose corn syrup. So yeah, the I just don't see it. But they had that was their complaint, and yeah. Especially given that there's a previous human rights tribunal finding that was like, hey, these complaints were brought out of some racial animus. It's like, ooh, that's bad. Do I use the intestines to make thread? No, I'm not that.
That'd be good. You sewed my coasters with bear intestine. That's hardcore.
Well, usually it's like sinew, but like natural sinew is a pain in the ass to make. So natural sinew is very much a pain to make. I will buy natural sinew. I don't think I'm ever likely to make natural sinew. Because, oh my God, that would be such a hassle. So, yeah. All right. Let's do a swoop and we can talk about some additional swoop. That is a fun swoop. So let's talk about thieves and people who got into a whole pile of trouble for thieving.
Don't thief things.
Yeah, don't thieve things.
Those aren't your things. Those are someone else's things.
Well, in this case, it's kind of complicated because it's like YouTube payouts.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Medium of LLC
No.
case? So, Medium of LLC. Jose Turan was sentenced to 70 months in prison, which, I mean, is a while. It's not super long.
No, it would get my attention. That's 6 years.
Yep. But they say that he received $23 million.
Okay.
I feel like $23 million over 6 years is like worth it.
If you get to keep the money.
If you get to keep the money. And I don't know if they've actually successfully gotten the money back. So what they were doing is they were monetizing, like making claims on other people's music on YouTube, and thereby stealing their monetization money. So
I believe that.
And that's how they got to $23 million. That to me is like epic. So let me just I can pull down some videos. Oh, I was also showing off fireworks. I'm gonna have to make fireworks.
I'm glad you didn't die.
Yeah, did you see the picture of me?
I did. It freaked me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It freaked me out. I'm like, oh, Runko's holding a bomb.
Yep. It's like, and we're demonetized. All right. So this is the indictment here. What's that?
Tell me I'm wrong.
So beginning in 2016 and continuing to the present, Webster Batista Fernandez and Jose Medina Turan monetized music they had no lawful rights to monetize or otherwise control. In short, they, as individuals and through various entities that they operate and control, fraudulently claim to have the legal rights to monetize a music library of more than 50,000 songs. They perpetrated their fraud by falsely representing to YouTube and to AR. I like how it's like initialized, like we're going to keep it secret, but it's YT. How many media companies out there are initials YT?
I'm sure there's quite a few, but
not
many that come to mind.
An intermediary company responsible for enforcing their musical library that they were the owners of a wide swath of music and that they were entitled to collect any resulting royalty payments. That's true. Might not be them. Okay. But they reaped royalty payments of more than $20 million. That's insane. They represented that all content it delivers to either AR or the YT content management system. The Young Turks have something called content management system.
Not to the best of my knowledge. No, that does kind of narrow it down a little bit.
The content management system, CMS, is YT's program that allows a third party to upload content on a YT and to manage that content. Wow. They're doing a real good job of anonymizing here, folks. Like,
what's the point of anonymizing at this point?
I don't know. Like, I don't know why you'd even anonymize YouTube, right? Like, that seems weird.
Previously run by someone named Susan and now run by someone named Neil.
Yeah. So, yeah, they've said that it doesn't infringe on the rights of any third parties, and they agreed that if it knows or suspects that any part of the content is not cleared for commercial use, it wouldn't deliver it to either AR or the CMS. So, basically, they identified a bunch of things, and then they started claiming their money. Now, the artist JLP, $132,000. Payments that defendants and / or their entities made to artists. I love this category. Like this column here. Payments that they made to the artist. It's just zeros all the way along. I don't think I've made $132,000 off of YouTube.
No, not quite yet. Well, no, probably not quite yet.
Now that's in 4 years. So
I'm getting close, probably in total revenue.
now I'm curious, but I can check that later. So look at all these people making pretty substantial money, or would have been. So conspiracy to engage in wire fraud, money laundering, and aggravated identity theft.
Yeah. I'm still waiting to hit the Markiplier numbers, or Mr. Beast numbers or something like.
Hey, if anybody wants
millions.
to make a super chat to take me up to Mr. Beast's lifetime revenue amounts, that would be amazing.
Doesn't he clear something like $12 million a month?
Yeah, I suspect. Mr. Beast, if you want to drop like $1 million super chat,
I want half.
no. So yeah, this is a wild story because, like, as people on YouTube, have you had BS claims before?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. I usually don't fight them because it's kind of not worth my time.
I had a BS complaint, and so this person claimed that they owned not even music, but like a portion of my voice.
Okay, that's a neat trick.
And I was like, so they put in and were like, hey, I own this section, and it was like me talking about like knives or something. So they were saying like, hey, we own this. And it was like, so I sent in a complaint, and they require you to indicate what the basis of the complaint is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I own this. I am a lawyer. Do not F with me. Claim lifted. And I was like, yep, that's right. So somebody's asking, who is Mr. Beast? He is a YouTuber who clears like $12 million a month.
Yeah, he is the most popular channel, or second most maybe at this point. He's got like 200 million total subs divided among his various channels. He does a lot of like giveaways. He has a philanthropy. His name is Jimmy. He lives in Greenville, North Carolina.
He actually seems like a pretty decent guy, in that a lot of like what he does is like, hey, I'm going to use some money to give people eyesight.
Yeah.
And then people complain. They're like,
complain that he's giving money for people to be able to see.
Yeah.
Or give people shoes.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not going to complain if he's like, he could easily be spending it on like, let's do some epic prank to like, really wreck somebody's day or something. So yeah, I think he's a pretty decent guy. I got no complaints about him. He's one of the few people who...
He's only like 27 though, which is just not fair.
Yeah, I mean, when I was 27, my assets were like, I don't know, a Coke bottle and a chip bag. Not the chips, mind, just a chip bag. So
across all of his properties and assets, he's probably worth a couple $1 billion at this point.
Also, Mr. Beast was offered a spot
$1 billion.
on... What's that?
He was offered $1 billion at one point and turned it down.
He was offered a spot on the the Crush Marine.
Oh yes, he said about the Ocean Blue Titanic sub.
Yeah, it's really good at being submarine, but it's not good
extremely good at being submarine.
But it's not good at the like returning and being like, super marine. I see somebody saying he's still not the highest earner on YouTube. I don't know who the highest earner is. So
that's possible, I suppose. He does well for himself.
Yeah, that is fair. So
and he has Mr. Beast chocolate bars, and he has Mr. Beast burgers. He has assets outside of YouTube.
Hey, I mean, pretty soon you'll be able to buy Runkle of the Bailey hot sauce.
Maybe you can have your hot sauce sold in his restaurant. Send some to there.
You know what? Maybe I should send him a hot sauce and just be like, hey,
send him a case. You might get lucky.
I don't have a case.
When you have a case, send him a case.
I see. Apparently, PewDiePie is still the highest streamer on the platform.
It's quite possible.
So, I still can't ship mine to the U.S. So, I got to get that sorted out.
PewDiePie's an interesting guy. You know, he gave away like his buttons. He gave away like his. I think he actually threw it away, like his 100 million button that they custom made for him, and I think he threw it away in the trash, and someone recovered it in the trash. But he like doesn't like possessions and stuff. He's a weird guy.
So it's funny though. Like my play button is in the garage. My wife actually found it when we were cleaning up the garage. And she was like, "Is there a reason this is on the floor?" I'm like, not really, no, but
you should have some pride in it. Put it on the wall, man.
I should, but I'm bad at that.
Just get a nail and put it up, man. I mean, it's not hard.
Like my legal degrees are not framed.
Okay.
I haven't put them up on the wall or anything like that. So, yeah. It's yeah. Oh, this is frustrating. I've been fishing and people drive right up where I'm fishing. They set up a big picnic lawn games. The teens jump in the water to swim right where my line is. It's posted no swimming area. Just like, don't set the hook. That would be assault. So, yeah, I don't know. Apparently PewDiePie has retired.
I don't know he's retired. He recently did a video where he said he was taking a break for an extended period of time, but he's definitely producing a lot less videos, so he's kind of semi-retired at least.
All right. Well, I mean, if I made that much money, I'd probably retire and just do like free legal work.
He's living in Japan now with his girlfriend, I believe. No, wait, he got married with his wife.
Wow. So she did all right for herself. Yeah. Although he's a weird guy.
He's weird. Definitely not my energy.
No, I can't stand watching his videos. I mean, good for him that lots of people have liked them, but you know, I can't. So yeah, that just doesn't work for me. So are you Peterson trial wrapped up? What are you covering now?
I'm going to be covering the suitcase murder trial. That's starting pretty soon.
Oh yes, I was looking at that one as well because
yeah, Jeff and I from Legal Vices have a tentative agreement to cover it together, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, cool!
And we'll probably wind up splitting it between my channel and his channel, which will be good for me because it means that I can like go to the gym or in the morning or something, and not have to necessarily like be on all day. So if he does the morning shift, which would make more sense because of time zones, and then I do the afternoon shift, I can go to the gym in the morning, cover the trial, not lose my workout time. That's awesome.
Nice. I what do you call it? I may do like recaps of it. I at some point want to get to a point where I can do like daily live streams, but like trial coverage. But I'll either I could either do like late night after the fact, but I'll probably do like just a summary recap video each day is what I'm planning. So I
was watching some of her police interrogation video on Natalie the Lawyer Chick's channel, and I'm like, well, as will surprise absolutely no one, she manages to incriminate herself every 30 seconds. She's talking. So every 30 seconds it's like, well, here's a new piece of thing. I get to use it for the jury. So it's like, I don't know how much more evidence I need.
Even innocent people incriminate themselves talking to the police.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, and Laura M, yes, but watch my recaps if I do them. So, let's see.
Peter Tragos is an interesting guy. I like him. He's got a lot of energy. I wonder how he gets the information in order to do the recaps, because I'm always like, how do I do the How do I do the recaps without watching the underlying thing? Does he just have it on the background or in his ear all day? I mean, I need to
He's
ask
got a
him how
law
he does
firm,
that.
so I'm sure
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
got.
Does he have someone watching it for him and giving him notes?
I think he's got a junior doing it.
Okay, that would work.
Would be my.
That's one way to do it. Get it done.
When I do them, I watch them just like attention deficit, attention splitting.
Yeah.
And then I just take notes of the times and so forth. So yeah, that's how I do those. You want to play some of the world's worst game show?
Sure.
All right, world's worst game show. So it's time for
$10 million. Cop.
It's time for cop or not a cop. It's the world's worst game show because you already know the freaking answer. In fact, in this case, it's in the headline. Saskatchewan RCMP officer remains suspended with pay after pleading guilty to 2 counts of impaired driving.
I want one of these. I want. Is it too late for me to apply to be a police officer so I can get suspended with pay? I know I'm too old for the feds, but surely there's some podunk police force that can hire me as deputy and then suspend me.
What's the age limit on the feds?
I want to say it's 40 to become a new officer in the federal government, like to start.
What you should do is you should launch a suit for age discrimination.
Technically, I could do that.
Oh, and I'm also told I need to run this. Because we're past 2 hours. So now is the point where YouTube is not paying attention.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a limit to how spicy.
My military police officer dreams are unlikely to come to fruition. I could still join the Texas State Guard, I think. So I could be a military officer that way. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm not super inclined to join the military at this stage in my life. I think I can actually get in like as a JAG or something, but I'm not planning on
Kick ass.
JAG would be neat if you could get like deployed. Because I figure that that's way more interesting overseas. So, Constable Kevin Ganrud, an officer with the Swift Current Combined Traffic Services Unit. So this is the fun thing. He does traffic services. You know what they enforce a lot of?
I'm going to guess DUI.
I'm guessing a lot of speeding tickets. I'm guessing a lot of road infractions and so forth. Yeah. So one count carried a fine of $1,200 and a surcharge of $360. The other count resulted in a fine of $2,500 and a surcharge of $750. I can tell you, most people at their third impaired driving are not looking at fines. They're looking typically at jail. But he gets banned from driving for 18 months. Now, I'm just going to say, he is banned from driving for 18 months. And, he does traffic enforcement. How does that work? Also, yes, guys, hit the like button. It is free.
Someone else drives for him?
I think that the best thing would be he's just trying to do it on his own. And so he sees somebody speeding and he just, he's got to run. He's got to catch up to them. You stop speeding. He's got to be like A-Train from The Boys. So, yeah. I don't see how he can do the job. Even if he's running like a speed trap, those speed traps are vehicles. You can't walk out there with a speed trap.
You can if you believe.
So he's suspended for while they're doing a review, which they say they have no idea how long it'll take. But yeah. The other thing is like one of the things that police do all the time in their job is driving.
Lie?
Well, no, driving. Also the other thing, but driving is the one I was coming with.
Okay, I thought it was lie. I was trying to get the answer.
But the thing is if you have the sort of alcohol problem that gets you to keep getting busted for impaired driving, then you maybe shouldn't be trusted driving a police vehicle at all. So that's kind of concerning. Also note that this is not his first time pleading guilty to an impaired driving charge. In 2015, he pled guilty to impaired driving for crashing an RCMP all-terrain vehicle while drunk and off duty.
Nice.
Like, yeah. And I just pulled this one up because I'm just wondering if they what is it? If they've actually indicated who this guy is. This is the guy who pulled the One Ring, which is a $2 million card. Doesn't look like he's given his name yet.
Why would you ever tell anyone your name? I don't know.
I don't know, because I think that this is...
what do you do? Put it in Sotheby's and see what they bid on it?
I would probably just take the $2 million.
Who's offering $2 million?
A game store in Spain.
Okay.
Like, I would probably just take the $2 million. And then, like, call it a day. I'm retired. So, but I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. The Canadian government has a good claim to, to seize it.
Yeah, we went over that.
So well, it's funny because I've still got tons of people who are in my comment section on those videos, and they are giving me no end of grief. They do not believe that it is a lottery. And
well, by the definitions, it looks like it. Did they say did they argue it based on the definitions of why it's not a lottery?
No, they argued it based on their feelings of why it's not a lottery. Here's the leading argument that people make. So the leading argument that people make is they say it's not a lottery because Wizards of the Coast is not offering the $2 million.
No, that's not the thing. Because the card itself is property. The card itself is property which was distributed by chance. So the value of the card is irrelevant in this equation. It doesn't matter legally. Because,
and in fact, go ahead.
No, it's just because that misunderstands the issue. The issue is that the way Canadian law is written, or at least the way you cited it to me, is it's any distribution of property that is done by chance. And okay, so this is a piece of property. It was manufactured by Wizards of the Coast. It's their property. They'd like to dispose of it. It's put into some card pack. Which card pack is chance? People buy it on a chance that it has it. So I'm like, yeah, that qualifies under technical legal definition. So whether it's worth $2 million or $2, it doesn't matter. The value of the card is irrelevant in this equation.
The other one here is it has a purpose outside of secondary market value. Lots of things do. There is a lottery.
Its value in the secondary market is irrelevant.
There's a lottery here that gives away a $1 million house. Right. And this is a legal lottery because it's run by the government. But, they give away a $1 million house. They won't pay you $1 million for the house. It's just you get the house.
Yeah.
But at that point, that house is worth $1 million because that's what it's appraised at. So. Yeah. And this is. If Magic cards are a lottery, then so are packs of baseball cards, hockey cards, Pokemon cards, etc.
I made that point.
You're right. That is correct.
Yeah, I made that point, and we're not sure that you're wrong. Yeah, this is like, yeah, because the fact that it's a rare card is also irrelevant. Because I made this point when I was talking about with Ian. I was like, if that's true, your standard run-of-the-mill pack is a lottery, because even in your standard run-of-the-mill pack, you're still gambling on what cards are going to be in any given pack. So technically, that makes every Magic pack a lottery. And Ian's like, yeah, that's the definition. I'm like, I'm not sure you're wrong.
And here I mean, it's just a card manufactured for a game. Its primary purpose isn't as a ticket. The actual randomization isn't so much done by the card. It's done by the sealed packages that you get randomly. Like, you know, if they just did it as like, you can buy a pack of cards, but you can flip through them and see which one, this would not be interesting, right? Because the store that got sent it would just take it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Presumably, yeah.
So now it's really interesting that I found a case that's actually kind of on point. I'm not going to bring it up because it's from 1959.
Yeah.
But the issue in that one was basically they had a lottery where you could go and buy you'd buy a ticket and they'd just give you a ticket with a random number on it, right?
Uh-huh.
And so the issue was whether those tickets were a lottery because
in and of themselves.
Well, the court said the tickets themselves are obviously a lottery with respect to the ticket, right? The ticket, you get the piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
They said, but the question is whether it's a lottery and whether the government can take the money that was associated with the winning ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, they said yes, because of the like particular definition of property as a right to claim something. But it was actually like, it was obvious that the ticket was property. The question was whether the money that the ticket would get you was property as well. So the case law actually kind of assumes that the card is sufficient to make it a lottery.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
which makes sense because the ticket's value is unknown at the time of purchase, which makes it a game of chance.
Yep. Is a raffle lottery? Yes.
Yeah. Lottery law is actually, lottery law in the United States even is a lot more complicated. There are a lot of people doing things that are technically illegal lotteries. So if you're like, that's insane, a lot of people, what people are doing are illegal lotteries. I'm like, yeah, technically they are. They tend to be so small that no one cares, but technically, like when you actually get into lotteries and distributing things by chance, it's a major pain in the ass.
Well, I mean, I had to do a ton of research on my Roll of Law channel. I'm giving away a thing of 10 silver maples, which is a prize of a little less than $500 total silver value. Now, each of these coins is actually marked by the government as being worth $5. So if you decide you want to take the cash equivalent, it's the $5, right? It's you can get $50 instead of the silver value. Don't do that. I literally wrote into the rules that would be stupid. But the way that one is not a lottery is that it's a test of pure skill. I give away hints on the channel, and the winner is whoever successfully guesses a 20-digit number.
One.
And you're not going to guess a 20-digit number. You're only also allowed one entry a day, so you made your entry with 1.
4.
But I'm giving away hints, and so somebody is going to use skill to figure them out and to give me the correct answer. And when they do, they get a $500 prize, right?
Was the correct answer 4?
It was not.
Damn it.
So that's acceptable in Canadian law because it's a test of pure skill. In fact, as a test of pure skill, I could charge money to participate. I could ask, I could say you got to pay $5 to pay. But let's say I wanted to do it by chance. Previously, I gave away a kukri by chance. The critical things on that is that I also have to have a skill testing question to make it into a game.
The Canadian lottery with the math question, very famous.
Yeah, it's got to be a question of mixed, or it's got to be mixed chance and skill.
And then there's a girl who failed the math question twice. by giving the same answer twice. That was good.
Yeah, that's tragic. But and you have to be able to, in that case, enter without paying any money. Which is why like those McDonald's like Monopoly thing have a thing where you can do a no
Those
contest.
were also rigged for the first 20 years.
Yeah, but you can still write in to get an entry.
Yeah, it just wasn't going to make you win because it was rigged, like literally.
Yeah. Oh, I know. KL Burke, the hints are going to get more and more obvious until somebody gets it. That's kind of the thing. So I'm just going to keep offering hints and so forth. But basically, yeah, Wizards of the Coast doesn't offer that.
Is it your phone number? Because I know what that is.
No.
Okay.
My phone number is not a 20-digit number.
It could be if I put enough zeros in front of it. Or the so your phone number twice. Yeah.
So, Kestrel, I'm sorry you gave up. The clues are going to get, a little more obvious as we go. That's kind of the thing. So,
is it Rob's phone number?
I mean, it could be, but it's not.
Poor Rob.
Oh, that would be terrible because then Rob would be getting all sorts of messages there. So
just give out my phone number and tell us people's Rob's phone number. Maybe I'll flirt with them that way. Maybe that's the way to women's heart. I'll just pretend to be Rob. Is it wrong for me to catfish as Rob? Is that a wrong thing for me to do?
Yes. And I see Traveling Science Man saying, I would take the cash value because the coin would end up lost / stolen if shipped here. Where are you? Like, yeah. Where are you?
Incidentally, by the way, I can't speak about all lottery law everywhere, but you can't always take the cash prize. For example, that's not a thing for The Price is Right, the game show. There's no cash prize equivalent. So you take the thing or you don't.
That's also actually intentional in the U.S. in a lot of places because it lets them pay out far fewer prizes.
Yeah, because you have to pay the taxes in advance, at least in California. So you have to pay the taxes up front.
Yeah. So if there's no cash equivalent, then it's like, hey, if the prize is like $1 million show home and you have to pay the taxes right up at the start, then it's like, oh crap, right? So yeah, you have to pay the taxes and then you're stuck with a house that you might not want or a vacation. So lots of people turn down the Price is Right prize.
I don't know if it's a lot, but some people do.
It's apparently a fair number. And Uncivil, I think you've been wanting to talk about this, about how you've been dropping the pounds because you're looking good.
Well, I was trying to talk about workout and getting buff and swollen stuff, and then Ian changed the topic on me like 3 or 4 times, and it was annoying because we were going to talk about lifting weights. Yeah, no, I've been going to the gym a lot more. I've been logging my workouts on my channel on my community tab. I've been doing mostly machines-based stuff, getting started, getting back in the gym, but I've been trying to go 4 times a week and been pumping iron, and it seems to be making some significant progress. So a long way to go. But we're making some journeys along the way and we're having fun. And that's good. And my gym actually has a squat machine, which is pretty cool too, which I really like. So, and it's actually one that you'd use a pin in because there's squat machines that have the like plates on, but this one actually has a pin in. So it makes it really easy to do squats and stuff. So it's a good way to get started, good way to burn calories, and good way to get swole. And I'm usually there for about an hour and kicking ass and taking names. So thank you for the encouragement. It means a lot.
Nice. Well, I mean, that is fantastic because, yeah, you're
and
if
I get buff enough, I'll change my channel name to Swole Law.
Swole Law.
Yeah. It'll be Law and Lifting. Yeah, Law and Lifting instead of Law and Lumber. That'll be the new channel title. And it'll be me in the gym doing Supreme Court analysis in between bicep curls.
That is actually pretty solid. And somebody just posted something on my Discord that I'm going to have to buy. And it's sad because it's expensive. So
what is it?
I got to pull it up. It's a set of dice. I have to buy this because, yeah. Polyhedral bullet dice set of 7 with spinning revolver cylinder.
Ooh.
And so it's stick dice that you have to roll, but it's in the form of like little bullet shapes.
Oh.
I am going to have to buy this. Like, this is just too nice of a set.
This is not safe for work content, man. We're going to get flagged.
I'm going to have to buy that and use it like for Lawyers and Dragons and so forth because yeah, that is way too cool. That is way too cool. I see somebody saying, "How does that even work?" They're like stick dice. You roll it and it's a cylinder with different edges. So, yeah,
it's got like 20. It's got like however many edges you need. So you're rolling it. Yeah, that's cool.
That is super cool. Apparently, the same company makes a D&D dice jail, which is kind of an interesting thing.
What does that mean?
I can show you what it means because it's ridiculous. Let me pull that up here. No, that's not the right. So it is this. It's a little prison for your dice.
Not really seeing the value in that one personally.
No, I'm not either.
It's not really doing anything for me.
It's some people like to punish dice if they think that their dice are misbehaving by not rolling well enough. But yeah, I'm not seeing it. It's an option if you wanted. Yeah.
I need people to sponsor my workouts. That's what I need in my life. I need someone to sponsor my workouts. For every pound I lift or something, I get a penny. I don't know.
I think that they'll only start sponsoring you after you actually become swole.
But it could be good for the journey to swole.
I see. What is stick dice? They are like a cylinder shape with edges, and then you roll it, and it just lands on one of the facets. So I don't have any stick dice at the moment, but if you think about like the way this pen lid has different faces on it, if you were to throw this pen lid, it would land on one of those faces, and then the opposite face has has a result. So that's how that goes. There's also a bit of a sad story we can look at. I'm just going to pull that up here. Oh, I should do a swoop as well. Swoop. Yeah, like a pencil, flat edges. Yep. There was a story a bit ago about a guy who opened a store selling heroin and cocaine, and he has since
I didn't know the business laws were so lax in Canada.
They were not. He got arrested.
Oh.
That was actually, he got arrested within 24 hours of opening the store.
Did he put out a sign saying crack and cocaine are us?
He literally called it the drug store, and he told the police he was going to be doing it.
In advance?
In advance.
Why?
He wanted to make this into a Supreme Court test case.
Okay, I respect that. Good luck with your Supreme Court test case.
So his argument was going to be that the laws against giving people a safe supply of drugs resulting in poisoning deaths contravenes Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which says that you've got the right to life, liberty, and security of the person, and the right not to be deprived thereof, except in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice. So, previously, this argument has been successful in, for instance, attacking some of the prostitution laws. So, that was basically what he was looking to do.
Okay.
So,
Godspeed, sir.
Yeah, he got himself arrested intentionally in order to bring this challenge, and then
Do you offer a 2-for-1 discount for the police force? Maybe that could have helped him.
I suspect he just literally like they probably had a cop walk in full uniform and was like, "Can I buy one drug, sir?" And it's like, "Only one? Why not buy all the drugs?" So he opened this store in order to fight this in court. Like, that was the whole point of that.
All right. Okay.
So
wouldn't necessarily recommend it as his lawyer, but you do you.
I suspect what his lawyer probably said was, "Hey, don't do this under any circumstances because you will go to jail." And he did it anyway. Some props for just being like, "Hey, and this is him. Adults only, 18 plus, ID required, possession limit 2.5 grams per drug per purchase per person, no exceptions."
Now, just out of raw curiosity, since he's tying this to fundamental freedoms and the right not to be deprived of life, liberty, or property, blah, 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 how does he get the 2.5 number out of that? Because why is that the number at which he has the right to infringe on other people's life, liberty, and property stuff? How's that based in? How's that have a basis in a consistent philosophical outlook?
I think he's just saying like that's an amount that you're likely to use at a particular time.
Yeah, but why does he get to be the arbitrary of that any more than the state does? Do you see what I mean?
I mean, it looks like you can come back and buy more if you want to.
Okay.
So if you went in, you got the 2.5 grams, you walked out, you used the 2.5 grams, you can go in and be like, "More cocaine, please."
2.5 grams of cocaine isn't a lot of cocaine from my understanding.
Yeah, but you could go in and get more if you wanted.
More cocaine, little boy? You want
Please,
some
sir,
more?
can I have some more? That's like he's got this little.
Did you see the story on my channel today? I posted a story about a guy who went to Sonic, which is a fast food restaurant here in the United States, and bought a hot dog, and it came with a bag of cocaine.
Why did it come with a bag of cocaine?
The cook had done a little street buy from his fellow person in the store, and as he was making the hot dog, accidentally forgot what was in what hand and put the baggie of the cocaine into the hot dog as he was making it.
See, I've done that with like throwing the wrong thing in the garbage, but never like giving cocaine to somebody at the window.
Yeah.
So that's exceptional. That's just epic. There was a similar one here in Canada at one point where a pizza place was selling drugs out of their pizza operation.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that their codes for ordering drugs were based on you had to like if you put in like certain pizza orders, that meant drugs. And so they intentionally specified pizza varieties that they thought no one would get.
But someone did.
Someone did, and the best part is it was a cop who ordered a weird pizza and then got drugs. And was sitting at home going, "Where the fuck is my pizza? Why do I have drugs?" So,
what was the weird combo? Is it's been specified? Because I'm just rawly curious at this point.
I don't remember. One of the weird combos involved pineapple. And to me, like any pizza with pineapple is already a weird combo. Chat, you're objectively wrong. But like it was like weird. But here's the thing. I order pizzas on occasion that no one else will eat.
Have you gotten drugs yet?
I have not gotten drugs. I think that the pizzas I order are sufficiently weird that they wouldn't even think of that as like a drug pizza. But I used to I used to work at a place with a bunch of other like people, as many of us have. And I would ask like, hey, I'm ordering pizza. Does anyone else want pizza? And what would everyone say? No, they wouldn't. And then once the pizza arrives, what do they want? They want pizza.
Yeah,
and so, I ordered like a medium pizza for myself, and everyone comes by to have a slice. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there like, I paid for a full pizza, and now I have like 2 slices of pizza left. So I have interesting food tastes, and so I'd order things like, anchovies and oysters. And then people would come by and they're like, hey, pizza, can I have a piece? And I'm like, you bet you can. Here you go. It's anchovy and oyster. And they'd go, never mind. And then I got a pizza to myself. So it's the way to go. But yeah, that they ended up selling drugs to a cop. It wasn't a great move. All right, let's do a swoop, and then we'll talk about the Hells Angels. All right, let's pull this one up because this is a fun story. Not so fun for the Hells Angels. So the Hells Angels lose bid to block sale of seized BC clubhouses. So the court has rejected an appeal by the Hells Angels to block the sale of 3 of its clubhouses. They had a lengthy court process. Basically, the government decided that these properties were being used for crime. And so the government brought a civil forfeiture proceeding against them. And took their clubhouses. And the Hells Angels were not happy about that.
Did they root it in nuisance law, or they root it as a civil forfeiture?
Civil forfeiture.
Okay.
Determined to be proceeds of crime or used in the commission of a criminal offense. So it's a little more difficult than like the U.S. system, where the U.S. system basically appears to, in some cases, be just straight up robbery.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's not fully fair.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like sometimes, it's like, hey, we're stealing your stuff, and there's not a whole lot you could do about it. And
that's not right.
It's yeah. So they have taken their they've taken these properties, which is a bit of a concern if you happen to be a Hells Angel. They found that the clubhouses were likely to be used in a way that enhanced or facilitated the engagement by members of the relevant chapters in unlawful activity. So it looks like these properties are going to get sold, which
who wants to buy them?
I would not want to buy them. I can tell you. I would definitely not want to buy that. Like, hey, buy this and the Hells Angels will be super pissed at you. Yeah. And, they're not noted for like being angry about these kinds of things. But I mean, hey, if you want to buy a clubhouse that might get you shot, like that's it's a great place to be. So they also, it's weird that they also have directions that they have to pay real estate agents a commission of not more than 7% of the first 100,000 and 2.5% on the balance, the gross selling price.
That's all?
Yeah.
Wow.
When the court directs it, I mean, yeah, usually real estate agents take a distressingly large slice. So, yeah, I don't know why it's that cheap, but what is it? Yeah, they're seeking to fight this whole thing, and to they want to keep these clubhouses. I don't think they're going to get to.
Well, they can build
Unfortunately, the
new.
Hells
They can
Angels are
build
not.
better clubhouses.
Well, that's the thing. Is I suspect that yeah, this is a good thought. Maybe it'll be like farm auctions where the town shows up and refuses to bid, so the family can buy it back for like $1. Might be. These farm auctions aren't really a thing anymore because they'll auction it online, and so it'll go to somebody who's not a local.
In Canada, you mean?
There's a thing where like farm, like the bank would take somebody's farm,
Yeah.
and then they would be like, "Hey, we're going to put this up for auction,"
Yeah.
and the locals would refuse to bid on it, so that the family would get it for like $10. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty common in the United States. I mean, I can't speak universally, but when you're talking about a forfeiture, foreclosure sale, or those kinds of things, usually it's very common that the place of the auction is the property in question.
yeah, it's just now that a lot of those auctions go online. So at that point, like somebody overseas will bid, and it's just like, oh well, you don't get that same effect anymore.
Damn Chinese.
Maybe, but yeah, it's just like it is what it is, right? You just that era has sadly passed. So because it was a good era of people sticking it to the man, which I approve of.
Yeah, well, there's a downside to that, because if that's the deal as a bank, you're going to be a lot less likely to give the mortgage in the first place, because you know that you don't have any real security at the other end. So you'll never be able to get mortgage. I'll never lend you money if I can't get foreclosure. So
Yeah, that is true.
so you'll never get a loan. Well, why would I give a loan?
Well, I mean, farms are already getting bought up by major, corporations and so forth. So I suspect what happens now is if your farm goes into foreclosure, it's just some major corporation will bid on it, and they don't care if if the townsfolk are upset. That drug business could not have worked in Sweden. We have lots of stuff we put pineapple on. I feel like there's certain combinations that you'd be pretty safe with. I mean, I would probably have said like pineapple and oysters and Smarties. And like, yeah, it's like Smarties aren't even on the list of toppings. So
my stance on pineapple on pizza is that if you grill it before you bake it,
yes,
that pineapple
can
on
be
pizza
good.
Works. But you have to grill it
Otherwise,
first.
it's too soggy.
Yeah, and too sweet too. You gotta let the sugar convert.
So covering some super chats and member chats here. XCDA is saying, what is the next case or the case for the next trials of the century? We were looking at Donahue and Stevens, which is do you guys cover it in U.S. Court?
What is it?
It's a famous tort case. It's set rules of tort in.
It doesn't sound familiar, but maybe if you told me more about it, would ring a bell.
So basically, here's the problem. There were issues. So this one person buys a bottle of ginger beer, and then gives it to a friend. And the friend opens this bottle of ginger beer and pours it on her ice cream, and basically enjoys that, and then pours the remaining ginger beer. Like they basically make a float out of it. They consume some of it, and then they put in some more ginger beer to top it up. And this rotting snail floats out of the bottle. And so the person who drinks it says that they got sick of it, sick from it and so forth. They went to a doctor. They got treated with, for various illnesses. And so that person sues the maker of the ginger beer.
Yeah, none of this sounds familiar, so I don't think we covered it, at least in my law school.
Well, it's a sort of famous, it's a 1932 torts case. So it might be that the US and sort of UK systems had broken sufficiently far at that point. But the issues are kind of interesting because initially there was an issue as to whether or not the person who drank the ginger beer could sue the person who sold the ginger beer, who made it.
Yep.
Because
Privity.
they weren't the purchaser. Yep, exactly. Yep. And contract was really the only basis for that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up having this giant court case to determine whether or not that you could get that lawsuit directly across that sort of triangle. It's a fun case. Fun and kind of tragic because everybody dies. Everybody dies.
From the snail juice?
No, they just die. It's completely unrelated to the case, but everybody dies.
Okay.
So there's a whole lot of different sort of legal issues and wrinkles, but that's what the plan is to cover. And it's a Scottish
sounds interesting.
Case. It was heard in Edinburgh, and I hope I don't get crap for mispronouncing that one because
Edinburgh. That sounds right.
Yeah, I feel like Squirrel would give me crap, for that one. So I hope I got that one right. But
Squirrel is best squirrel.
Squirrel is best squirrel. It's we missed the squirrel, but it's a fun case. So that's what we're looking at there. I have one from Uncivil saying, "Drop me a link, please."
Yep. Thanks.
Uncivil Law, what are your thoughts on the fabricated Supreme Court case? Have you already covered it?
Yeah, so this is dealing with this issue of the website designer. And I'm not sure it really technically matters because she sued first. She sued for declaratory relief. So you can sue first in the United States. Essentially, the issue is you have to have standing. And you obviously have standing if the government acts against you or a private party acts against you, but there's also an idea that you have standing if it's essentially imminent. So the classic example of this would be like a cease and desist letter, right? Someone is violating
cease and desist, you sue them to say I'm doing
someone sends me a cease and desist, says you're violating my copyright, and I'm like, well, no, I'm not. I'm going to sue you first. I'm suing you because this is giving me enough reality to this that I can press the trigger first. So she sued for declaratory relief. So I'm not sure it really matters as a matter of law whether or not this person exists or not, because she, by her own statement, said, well, I want to open websites and start this trade. So whether or not anyone approached her is kind of neither here nor there. So I don't think it really matters to the outcome.
What if the person she sued doesn't exist?
Well, she sued the government, so in that case, not so much.
Yeah. But I mean, the basis for the lawsuit, if it's a fiction, I mean, I don't think that the court's going to undo it on this basis. I just this seems like the sort of thing that had to have been discovered and argued.
It's also not an issue for the Supreme Court because it's an issue of fact. Yeah. And to the extent that's true, that was an issue long ago.
Yeah, that's an issue.
The Supreme Court is going to take the facts as given. So assuming it's in the factual record and assuming it's true or said it's true, it's like no one's you're not going to fight it at this point. So that ship has long since sailed. Also, I don't think it matters.
Would it have mattered if they'd caught it at the trial level?
I don't think so, because again, she sues for declaratory relief. So her whole complaint is, essentially, in essence, if I open up my business to create these websites, if a person comes into my shop and wants me to design a gay website, I won't do it. And you, government, will come after me. So this is a perspective enough reality. And so, the law exists, the government, so it's like,
I feel like you need the person, but I feel like it would have mattered if they found it at the trial level. That's my feeling.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how this all came about. I'm not sure what the deal is. I'm not sure it really matters legally at this point. The United States Supreme Court's not going to reverse itself because of this, because it's like it just doesn't matter. It goes to standing at best, and the Supreme Court's not going to reverse itself because of that issue at this point.
I think at this point it's like it's too far past it, right? The Supreme Court's not going to be like, whoa, we're going to undo this case. Like it's just, I don't see that. That's, I think it might have mattered at the trial level. I don't think it matters today. It's just interesting today. And the person who'd have to bring that argument would be the government. And if they choose not to bring that argument,
you use it or you lose it.
Yeah.
So like she doesn't have standing. That argument's gone.
Yeah, and this is 303 creative that we're talking about.
Yeah, 303 creative. So
So if the government chose not to argue that, then they agreed that it was fine that it goes to the court.
It was an interesting case to read, especially an interesting dissent to read. Also with like the college admissions case, I find reading the dissents really interesting because it's just an interesting way to check my own biases. Because like Sotomayor was big mad, and I'm like, why do we see things so incredibly differently, on these issues? And it's just interesting to try to contemplate.
The other thing is that it's always worth looking at dissents because sometimes dissents turn into law later.
Oh yeah, famously, like Morrison versus Olson, 8-1, with one being Scalia, and Scalia's opinion is now the law. And my favorite opinion of all time wasn't exactly a dissent, although it was close. Whitney versus California, Justice Brandeis wrote the concurrent opinion. And Justice Brandeis's opinion is now basically First Amendment law. That's like all First Amendment laws, just Justice Brandeis's opinion. It's all built on it. And it's like, so the one-man opinion, can sometimes make a huge difference.
What is the appropriate victory dance when that happens?
When you become all the basis of all First Amendment law, I don't know, man.
When you write a dissent that ends up A, overtaking everyone else, and B, becoming like, hugely important in law.
Yeah. So I don't know what the appropriate dance at that point is. I guess I told you so dance.
It's like,
if you've never read Justice Brandeis's opinion in Whitney v. California, I find it to be just I almost cry reading it. It's just this very romantic, idealized version of what freedom of speech is and like what it means to us as free people. And I'm like, yeah, it's one of those opinions that just makes me want to go, America, fuck it. It just makes me want to do that thing. So if you haven't read it, I recommend it. With July 4th coming up, it's a good time to read it. So you should read Justice Brandeis's opinion.
Maybe I'll do that on July 4th because I figure that's a good one. But and I see Just Hearts. She didn't have a website. She didn't have a case. It's all made up. The whole judgment should be thrown out. Unfortunately, that's not how they do. Like if, even if all of the parties turned out to be fictional, other than the government, they still like the case at this point is done, right? They're not going to.
Yeah, she didn't have a website. That's true because she was suing for declarative relief. It's all about what she would have done in the future, which sometimes you can do about what you will do in the future. And you can seek declarative relief in advance. So the fact that, it's a moot issue at this point.
Well, and declarative relief is usually done in advance, right? Like, or, somebody says, I will sue you. And you're like, nuh-uh, I'm going to say you can't. So, yeah. Whoops, we just covered that one.
Joe she had a website design service, but she wasn't doing wedding designs. So to be more precise, so she was doing graphic design at the time. She was doing website design at the time, but she wasn't doing any wedding related stuff at the time. She wanted to expand her business into the wedding. And so that was the thing. It's like, if I go do this into the wedding, then a gay couple approaches me, you're going to make me do a website for them, and I don't want to. So she sues for declarative relief over what the government would do in the future if she were to create wedding websites, and the courts found that to be standing, which, you know, is not wholly invalid because of the sort of examples I gave before. You know, as long as the threat, you know, I could go find out the exact case law, but essentially as long as the threat is real and imminent, you know, it's not merely, you know, as long as it's, you know, real, then yeah, you can strike first. You don't have to wait to be struck.
Yeah, there's various situations where you might want to do that, especially in situations where, say, somebody uses a copyright claim to get your video or whatever taken down. Then you might be like, I want to get this, you know, I want to get a declaration that my video is legal, because then I can get it put back up by this other people. Like, if, you know, so Joe Loy saying, I can drop a $5, lol. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated.
Like, for example, if I were to upload a video of Eliza Blue and her music company were to strike me, I could file for declarative relief.
What? This has never happened by anybody ever.
Yeah. And then I could go have a lawsuit against Eliza Blue, which would be kind of hilarious.
And I see Against the Tide, because I care truly. Have you all drank enough water today? No, I have not. I
got nothing better to do for 5 years. Maybe I should just sue Eliza Blue. That'd be good. I can depose her. That'd be great.
Oh, that would be fun. Crazy Cat Queen saying, I haven't put up my MD either, Ian, lol. Yeah, talking about how I haven't put up my my, you know, YouTube plaque or my any of that stuff. It was funny because I'd get people walk into like my legal office and they're like, where's your degree? I'm like, at home in a box.
Yeah.
So
possibly
just get a nail and put it up. It's not hard. Someone who does not have ADHD, it's not even about that, because I'm sure I could have gotten it done in the past like decade at some point if I cared. It's just why I'm not super fussed about it.
Because you earned it. It was hard, and you should be proud of yourself.
I am, but it's not the piece of paper.
It's a little bit the piece of paper. At least it is to me.
Fair. I guess Apple Silver saying, in Canada, what's the legal definition of death, and what are the options for defining death? Your thoughts on the new 2023 guidelines from the BBDD? I don't know what these guidelines are.
Have they redefined death in Canada? Are you all secretly dead? Are you dead men walking?
I mean, I've been dead inside for like a while, but
yeah.
What is it? I don't know. I mean, usually death isn't that hard to figure out, but I'm guessing there's some edge cases where it matters. So Apple Silver, shoot me sort of a follow-up just to let me know what you're talking about. Here for years saying, Ian, you're in black. You look almost like a 50th level master vampire. Yeah, this was just the shirt that was on the shelf. So yeah. The vampire I'll go with. Nicole, sir, it's okay to be wrong sometimes. Pineapple belongs on pizza. Only if you're putting that pizza where that pizza then belongs, which is in the trash.
Ooh, damn.
Weirdest pizza I ordered was anchovy jalapeno pepper. Was hoping it would help me to stay awake to study for a test. It didn't work. Thank you for the story, Cat in Virginia, but I would eat that without... and Against the Tide noting, because I care truly, have you drank enough water today? I rarely drink enough water, but I will try. When are we doing the fundraiser for Rob's suit? We're going to wait a couple of weeks because Rob's having some difficulties. So
what are we suing? What are we doing now?
We're doing a fundraiser to get Rob a suit, like a clothing suit.
Okay.
Like in like lumberjack style flannel.
Oh, I see.
We need to get him like a proper lumberjack lawsuit.
Because like, why not just go to Indochina or something? I mean, you know, they've got facilities at Tyson's Corner. Like, I mean, I don't think they've got a flannel.
I suspect there's like a like the Hong Kong tailors and so forth.
So yeah, sure, for no doubt. Yeah.
We'll just have to get his measurements, and then we can get that sent off. So Chris Mullen, thank you for 5 gifted memberships. Koru saying 5 acres on the coast, all the exercise you need. I would love 5 acres on the coast, but I have 0 acres on the coast. Catherine Fraser, for the love of dogs, heart, thank you very much. Against the Tide saying make sure to like the stream and share, thank you very much. Equality, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, much appreciated. So there's a couple of other weird stories that we can look at. Some of them are not that weird, but they're still like interesting. Quebec father who was SA'd by his wife qualifies for victim compensation.
Good.
This to me seems like it would be a fairly obvious decision.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? Because he's a guy.
That was pretty much it. So the tribunal was asked if the compensation for this was specifically to support a child born of SA. And they said, like, hey, he doesn't have custody of the child, and that these amounts are meant for a parent who can't work. But they found that he has financial obligations as a result of all of this, and so that can be covered by that. And they also, because there is a child involved in this, and basically that the only reason why he's not more involved in this child's life is because it's incredibly traumatic to have any contact with the mom. I feel like this case is a no-brainer.
Who was opposing him, the government or the mom?
I don't know, actually. And somebody's saying, did he get pregnant? No, she got pregnant, but he's on the hook for support. He's on the hook for all of that stuff. So
if he gets the money back that's from the support obligation because of the SA, that would be really interesting.
I suspect it's from the government. Yeah, it's a provincial fund for victims of crime. So
okay.
That's where that is.
So the government now has to pay child support to itself.
Well, to the mom. He provides, and apparently he provides the sole financial support because mom doesn't work. So that's, I feel like that one shouldn't have been a tough call, but it was. And I guess the last one we'll cover here, I'm going to do a swoop. I'm going to read that super chat that came in, and then we'll cover one last topic here. All right, and David Tomez, thank you very much. It's much appreciated. So thank you for the financial support there. And JR was saying, when are we doing the fundraiser for Rob Suit? When we can. We're going to wait a little bit on that. But I see he did the deed so we can pay up. He was SA'd. Like
he was SA'd. Which part of that did you not pick up on? Yeah.
He was not consenting. So, yeah. All right. So let's... So this is a really interesting thing. There's people who keep trying this tactic, and so far they are not succeeding, but we will just see what's going on here. So Voltage, which is a company that makes various movies you've probably never heard of, has tried to have a reverse class action certified. And so basically what they're saying is there's one of us, but we want to sue a group of people who we don't know who they are.
Okay.
And so this is on the basis of copyright infringement against unidentified internet subscribers alleged to have been sharing movies online. Now, the reason why this
is class action in the United States, because you wouldn't be able to show that they acted in concert for the class action. I don't think that's viable in the United States.
Yeah, I think that there's issues with it. So, but they did find that, or the test here was that the pleadings disclose a reasonable cause of action is the first part of that, which seems like it makes sense as a requirement. There's an identifiable class of 2 or more persons. The claims of the class members raise common questions of law or fact.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the common questions of fact, to be honest,
Yeah.
because they're, a class proceeding is the preferable procedure for the just and efficient resolution of the common questions of law or fact. There's a suitable class representative, and the plaintiff must propose a workable plan for advancing the litigation and keeping class members informed. So they were denied permission, and it was sent back to the federal court to address two specific issues. Is the proposed reverse class proceeding the preferable procedure? And is their litigation plan workable?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the court did find that this was preferable to the alternative, individual actions considered together under the joinder rules.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why they're having trouble suing is that Canada's got like a notice and notice regime. And so what that means is that if they can give notification to an ISP and say, hey, this IP is infringing, and then the ISP then provides that notice to the person.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't require like a takedown of your site. It's not got any, strike system or anything like that built into it. So, and I see people saying gummy. We'll do the gummy. I got the gummy out of the box. We'll do the gummy. I'm going to
doing the gummy
regret
challenge?
the gummy. Yeah, I'm going to regret the gummy, but we're going to.
Why are you doing this now?
Because it's a spicy gummy. It's at 6 million Scovilles.
Yes.
And I like spicy things. I don't think I'm going to like this gummy.
No.
So,
have you taken some Pepto-Bismol or something in advance, or what?
I had dinner. So if I hadn't had dinner, I would not do it, because then it would just be like I might send myself to the hospital. But I had trout. I had orzo, like garlic lemon orzo. I had broccolini, I think it is, like the little mini broccolis. And I had Brussels sprouts. So, yeah. But Canada actually makes it, or they try to make it hard for people to sue based on this. So I'm interested to see what's going on. I see people saying, have some yogurt to hand. I don't. Milk is a bit there. So now I don't know what Voltage Pictures, like what movies do they make? I'm just trying to see what films that they actually make.
Do they make knockoffs? Or are they one of those companies that just makes movies that sound very similar to real movies that are really badly done?
I don't know. I'm just trying to find it.
Like Atlantic Rim and shit like that?
So they targeted the online copyright infringement of 5 of its films: The Cobbler, Pay the Ghost, Good Kill, Fathers and Daughters, and American Heist (The Works).
Okay, those don't sound like shit.
I don't know what these are. I mean, I just don't know exactly what these are. All right. So we have a gummy here.
Mm-hmm.
This gummy is hard and
put it full screen, baby. We need to enjoy all this in its full screen glory.
Oh God. So it's holding a thing. I don't know what the thing is. I think it's supposed to be, it's holding a little piece of dynamite. All right. How are we doing on cola? All right, we're all right. Somebody says, I heard you're supposed to keep the gummy in your mouth for 5 minutes. I heard you're supposed to go to hell. No, that does not sound like fun. So we want you to make,
officially advising you against doing this, just for the record.
We want you to make the best little nitro video on the internet. Post your video to YouTube with the hashtag Lil Nitro Challenge for a chance to be featured on our website and social media platforms. Oh, good. They pay an exposure. Fully chew this fiery bear and see if you can handle the heat. Can you go a full 5 minutes without relief? I think I got to go to the bathroom within 5 minutes, so I don't know. It doesn't give any instructions on this, other than that they say it's 9 million Scovilles. All right, we're gonna try it. I can't promise I'm gonna do any 5-minute crap because, quite frankly, this thing probably tastes like extracts, which probably tastes like gross. All right, we're gonna bite the head off this bear. Christ, it's chewy. Like you got a
My
knot.
stopwatch.
Oh God, it tastes awful. Oh, it's a mixture of sweet and unpleasant.
30 seconds.
Blah. Oh, frag, it tastes gross. Oh. Oh. I'm not eating the rest of this bear because it tastes disgusting. Ugh. All right, it's broken up into pieces. Oh, that is gross. Whew, it is spicy. I'm sitting here going, I'm looking at this because it is spicy. Whew. What's our time at?
Minute 30.
It's going to get better before it gets worse. Nope. Other way around. Whew. My eyes are watering a bit, but I don't want to wipe them. Whew.
2 minutes.
Yeah, this is just unpleasant. Whew. That's a good thing. Whew. Nose is starting to run. Yeah.
2:30.
Eyes are tearing. Yep. Whew. It's too hot. This is too hot for my liking. It still tastes awful. Whew.
Ian's just grinning and bearing it. He's gonna make it though. I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do the full bear. I did about half the bear. Whew.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Whew.
Da
Whew.
da 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 da. Da 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 da
It's getting a little better.
It's the final countdown.
Where are we at?
350.
Oh, that's not too bad. We got a minute. Still rough to breathe. I am going to get some milk just to settle the stomach.
Okay.
But I'll keep on stream for the...
Life is plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair. Dress me everywhere. Imagination. Life is your creation. I'm a blonde bimbo girl in a fantasy world. Dress me up, make it tight. I'm your darling. 340.
Didn't you say 350 before?
440.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, here we go.
It's just
10,
one.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay!
Woot. All right, I'm gonna go step aside for a moment because I just realized that this. So I grabbed a piece of paper towel to wipe my eyes, and I just realized why it was here. This was left over from the Hot Ones challenge, so I just wiped Hot Ones sauce into my eyes. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, while Ian's gone, I will just take this moment to kindly remind you to please all check to make sure you're still subscribed to Runkle the Belly, because there's a strong possibility that you're not. Because as we all know, YouTube loves to just randomly unsubscribe people for no particular reason. Are you subscribed? Are you sure? Have you checked since the start of the stream? Maybe even unsubscribed while you're watching, because YouTube does shit. They say they don't, but they totally do. And have you hit that like button? If not, you should, because hey, you like Runkle. He has dogs, and he's a elf wizard, and that's fun. And you should totally support him. And he's my friend. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that link button and send him some super chats his way, because he appreciates it and all that stuff. And check us all out on the Law Tubes. We all try to produce good quality content for you. Runkle's a good guy, by the way, just on a personal level. I just want to say he's really a nice guy. He's, he is kind of like what he purports to be, and in his personal affectation. I think Rob is as well. I think we all are kind of pretty true to life, maybe a little bit more full in person, but what you get is a good example of who we are. And Runkle's just a friendly, good guy. He's very accommodating, nice, kind, friendly, very cheery, very kind of low-key, down to earth, easygoing. He's a nice guy. I helped him pick out his hat. He got a good hat. He was looking at one hat, and I was like, that isn't the hat for you. This is the hat for you. And I got him better hat. So I was hat sage because he needed it. And that's what friends do for each other. So all that good stuff. I'll be doing the trial of the suitcase murderer coming up. That should be fun. I did a live stream today. That was good. I cut up 16 Supreme Court videos this weekend. That was a lot of pain in the butt. Got like 45 in the queue, ready to go. Released one today dealing with co-defendants testifying against you, which is kind of fun, right? What happens when if one of your co-defendants confesses? How does that work? The answer is it doesn't work well for you. So don't commit conspiracies. Don't commit crimes. All that good stuff. I'm a good friend but lousy promoter? I thought I did a good job promoting. Aww. I can try harder. Runkle of the Bailey. He's the greatest, the most wonderful, the most epic Canadian you have ever seen. Feast your eyes on the Runkle of the Bailey channel, where all your Canadian law questions will be answered. Mysteries unveiled. Crimes solved. Cases resolved by Runkle of the Bailey here on the Runkle of the Bailey channel. Please turn your attention to your friendly subscribe button. Is it currently subscribed? If it is not subscribed, it's because YouTube has been a dick to you. Make sure to hit that YouTube subscribe button. And how do you show your appreciation? Merely by clicking that beautiful like button. Yes, it's free. If you hit that like button, you too will gain the wisdom of 1,000 people, because only the wisest, most wonderful, most genteel people have clicked the like button, and surely you're like them. Do it today.
Also, all of you people who are chanting gummy, I feel like I don't normally grift, but you all of the people who are chanting gummy owe me a super chat at this point. Oh, I am putting away the other half because it's gross. I may just chuck it. They do not taste good by any stretch. But next week, maybe we'll try this. The internet says these are lethally spicy noodles and are like, hey, you can't get through a package of these. I bet I can, but we'll try that next week. So
on the scheme of very personal problem, like it's now been like 2 weeks or something, or maybe 2.5 weeks. But I was just doing a normal stream one time, and I felt like I tore my vocal cord. And ever since then, I haven't been able to quite do what I had before. It still kind of hurts. And like I was just talking normally, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Because it felt I've never torn my vocal cord before, but I think that's what it feels like. And so, like now when I elevate my voice, it gets much more fatigued more early, and I wind up just choking on my own spittle. It's not a great look.
You may want to rest for a bit, like because.
You mean not talking? That's very sad.
Well, I mean, you don't want to like injure yourself, so. I see people saying, make sure Zora doesn't. We will make sure the pups do not get it. So, I am feeling that like the little, because it dissolves to like little fragments, and then those end up getting swallowed. I can feel those, and I'm like, I am so glad I had. I'm so glad I had some. What is it? Something to eat, because otherwise I'd just be dying. So. And this is a good one there. Gross from the guy who eats rotten fish in his backyard. The gummy must be foul. I would eat the surströmming again before I'd eat another one of those.
Wow. That's strong words.
The surströmming tasted better. I feel like that really is a testament to just how bad that tastes, because it's just like, it's got sugar, but it's a lot of extract flavor at the same time. Extract is gross. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to win their little nitro challenge, based on noting that it's gross. Like they're like, hey, we'd like to sell many of them, and I'm like, no. Somebody says, what tastes better, the gummy or the bomb? I think the gummy slightly, but they were both just awful. I don't want to eat either of them. So, and Kurt, you're not a spicy guy, correct?
Nope.
So that is sad, but
I have other traits that are nice. Spice is not one of them.
That is fair, and spice is not for everybody. You got to do what makes you happy. So
talking to you makes me happy.
Aw, well, thank you. You got to come up here sometime, and we'll hit the range. We'll
just tell me when, man. I've got a passport. We'll travel.
Sounds good. We'll make that happen, because we'll what is it? Maybe do it before Canada.
I'll see what's going on up there.
We got to do it before they ban all the fun stuff. So yeah, it's which who knows when that'll be, but they keep hoping to do it. But what is it? What is it? Yeah, this is there's surströmming. Surströmming is canned fermented fish. It actually ferments in the can. It is it's exceptional in terms of like smells and so forth. It does smell pretty exceptionally bad, but I mean, you get over it. It's not a big deal. Also grabbed some tissues because nose is still running. That it is pretty exceptional there. So I mean, it is spicy. Don't get me wrong. That thing is pretty brutal spicy, but the taste of it is just unpleasant. All right. Let's see. Was there anything else I wanted to cover, or should I go through super chats and wrap things up?
Wrap it up, baby.
Oh, wait. Oh, there's an entertaining one of one more lawsuit we'll look at here. So I'll swoop, and then or not lawsuit, but case. We'll swoop, and then does Mrs. Runkle just roll her eyes at you when you do silly things like eat spicy gummy bears? Yes. I do 3 guns sometimes. So yes, I do sometimes do gun tournaments. All right, let's. I want to show this one here because it's a bit of an entertaining one. So a guy got charged for. He had a Canada Goose waddle into his yard and it wouldn't leave. So he ate it. So Canada geese, you know how Canada's got a reputation for being polite and friendly and so forth? Canada geese are not that. Canada geese have all of the anger and rage of Canadians boiled into them. So that is where Canada puts its rage. So the goose was hanging around and wouldn't leave. And so eventually he caught the goose, killed it, cooked it, and ate it. And his daughter was pissed. So she put the video on TikTok, and that's how the authorities got him. I feel like that's a jerk move from the daughter. But he got charged with 1 count of possession of wildlife unlawfully under the Wildlife Act. And so he pled guilty. And the Crown and the defense jointly proposed a $500 fine. And the judge said, no deal. I'm not doing it. I am not going for a $500 fine. He says this is not somebody who goes and shoots a goose out of season. The goose came to him. And so instead, he imposed a fine of $10. And the reason why the low fine is that then he says, in default, 1 day in jail, which is satisfied by his appearance in court. Technically, being in court is your first day of jail.
Nice.
So the judge basically said, you have a nominal fine of $10, but you've already served it by coming into court today, and go home, sir. That's it. So I like the judge in this one. I really like the judge on this one. And
the goose got its ass cooked, baby.
Philip Martin says he unfortunately still has a record now. It's not a criminal charge. So he doesn't have a criminal charge on this one.
What are you in here for, murder? Goose eating. Goose eating.
Yeah. I ate a goose. So, yeah, I like the judge on this one. I think that this is a fully reasonable result. But it just goes to say you can't eat a goose that's in your backyard. You have to go out there and go, shoo, goose, and then it will bite you. And it will bite you, and you will want to die because geese are horrible, horrible shits. So, yeah. The issue is that you're allowed, there's a hunting season for them, and he killed it out of season, and he didn't have a hunting license. They withdrew that charge on his guilty plea, but he didn't have a license for it.
You come onto my yard. You come onto my yard, disgrace my yard. On the day of my daughter's wedding.
All right, let's land this plane here. All right, so I see Nikki Crayon saying, Sir Elf, we were promised a spicy gummy, and you've had the spicy gummy. And I had the spicy gummy. Skeesy saying, this is quality entertainment. Well, thank you. KL Burke, top-notch entertainment. You did it. Thank you very much. Emma Zay, thank you for 5 gifted memberships. Jess J, spicy for the sake of spice without flavor is, and then nauseous face. Yeah. The problem is that when you get up to like the 9 million Scoville things, if they're not made with like super hot peppers, they're made with extracts, and the extracts always taste gross. Rosie, the Rose Without a Thorn, is saying, Heart you, Ian, did you ever check into the Michael Jackson case? I have to pull that one up. I haven't looked at it yet. If Rob is still sort of out of commission on Friday, I'll put that one up on Friday. So
is Rob not feeling well?
Rob's got some life chaos, unfortunately. So
okay, I know some about that. I was just curious what else was going on.
Yeah, no, he's dealing with that. So, Traveling Science Man, I responded to you on Patreon. Yes, I've got to reply to you. I did see it. I just got to reply. Cat in Virginia, the bear is holding a portable defibrillator. I'm pretty sure it was a stick of dynamite. I'm not certain, but it looked like a stick of dynamite to me, or maybe a fire extinguisher. But yeah, I suspect it was dynamite because their little insert has dynamite. That seems like it would make sense to me. Linda Chie, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to be pronouncing that. Thank you for the membership. Samantha S. Runkle, thank you for your sacrifice. It was fun, but also, yeah, I'm not going to eat that one again. Laura Christine, well played, sir. Thank you very much. Equality, sorry I said 5 minutes. Hey, 5 minutes, we're going to do it. So, yeah. Parallel Jen for the gummy, thank you very much. And Rachel Duick for the gummy, thank you. That gummy is miserable. JR, I didn't say gummy, but this is for your poor eyes. That was bad. Do not wipe your eyes with hot sauce. Angie Torres, thank you very much for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Twisted Tragedy for eating the gummy bear, even though I wasn't one of the people asking. Well, much appreciated. Rabbit for doing the gummy, even though I didn't know what they were talking about. Well, thank you. And Kristen M96, will Trials of the Century behind the scenes happen this week, or will it be delayed until life gets less crazy for Rob? If delayed, it is all good. I think it's just trying to plan. I don't think it's going to be on the 5th. I think it'll probably be the 12th. So just so you can plan your calendars, I think that's where we're looking. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Thank you as well, Kurt. It's great to have you here.
I'm serious, Runkle. I'm not letting this go. I want you to find a gym. I want you to lift with me.
I will find
I want
a
you
gym.
to find a gym. I want you to find a gym and find an app of your choice, and we can trade workout notes. It'll be encouraging. You can do your running or whatever. You can do your cardio. I'll do my lifting. I'll become the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. It'll be great.
Well, right now I'm doing my running just outside, like just going for little jogs. I'm doing the None. So there's like a C2 5K, which is couch to 5K.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is I am below couch, below couch. So I found one that is called None to Run, which is more my level of fitness. Is I'm starting at none. So yeah. But yeah, we can do that. We can make that happen. All right.
You as a built elf is a great image.
I will. I can't see myself becoming built, but maybe I could achieve couch. Like there we, So, all right. I'm gonna roll the outro and see everybody next week.